from Ohio had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. On that farm he had some pigs. E-I-E-I-O. With a sheep here and a goat there. Eric from Ohio had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
Eric from Ohio had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
Eric from Ohio had a book.
E-I-E-I-O. And that book made no sense. E-I-E-I-O. So we fed it here, fed it there. Pages flying everywhere.
Eric from Ohio had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Sometimes he shoots it straight.
E-I-E-I-O.
Sometimes he wipes his butt.
E-I-E-I-O. Pages spin and chaos reign. Sheep just stare like
Bro's insane.
the Quran is such a stupid book.
Every day the book gets zooted. Zoot, 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 zoot. Same the book gets eaten. Zoot, 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 zoot. They get zooted here, zooted there, zooted everywhere.
Everywhere, everywhere. Eric from Ohio zooted that book.
E-I-E-I-O, everyone. Welcome. Let's go ahead and dive on in, all my friends. I'm joined today by a gentleman that we went to Dearborn with. Thaddeus, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Or should I say E-I-E-I-O?
Yeah, it seems to be the welcome we're going with here. So I just went with it. It's like, okay, that's pretty awesome. Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, I was freaked out. It's like 6 o'clock and the live stream's starting, and I'm like, what is this? David never starts a live stream on time.
No, I'm a little trapped because I stream on Rumble as well. And they are really strict on make sure your stream starts before time, or else they'll block you.
Interesting.
So that's where we're at today. So today we're going to be talking about our Dearborn trip. We're also going to be taking on any sort of Q&A you guys have. So if you guys want to click the link and come on in here, we'll talk, have a discussion on some topics, and just have a good time. This should be a nice, relaxing sort of stream, I think. So Thaddeus, let me start off by asking this for anyone in the chat that doesn't yet know who you are. Who are you, and where can I find the content you make?
My name is Thaddeus. I'm a Christian who focuses on outreach to Muslims. These days, it seems most of my content ends up on Apologetics Roadshow because we've been having a lot to deal with our Dawa freak fan Malik, the beta male individual, as your wife accurately put it, and he was quite upset about beta male Malik. So that's where I usually am, but my channel is Reasoned Answers, focused on outreach to Muslims, and I'm going to try to get back to streaming on there. I definitely will have a stream with Mary sometime next week, but that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Okay, so make sure you guys go ahead and do that. We also have a poll in the chat, and it seems like a bit of an odd poll for today, but I'm going to explain it. So the poll is, I forgot I've got multiple computers here. That means I need to use different mice, which I'm not the best at yet. But the poll is, God Logic, so Avery, go on the PBD podcast. Push it on X. So this is a question that PBD has posted on their X account saying, who should we do next? Who should we have come on? So if you guys want to see Avery on the PBD podcast and help push the truth about Islam there, make sure to go ahead and check that out. Make sure to vote. Let him know. Say, hey, I want to see Avery on there. That would be cool. I think it'd be awesome. But that's just my opinion.
I was gonna vote for Malik, but then Avery he pulled some strings and said, "Hey, I'm the boss here. You gotta vote for me." So I did vote for Avery.
Oh yeah. We gotta include that. Hey, any of the Christian Mafia members who are out there, we need to make sure our Mafia leader goes on the PBD podcast. So we must vote that Avery gets on there. Yeah. That's what. Oh my goodness. Yep. So. Yep, we gotta do what Avery says, man. We gotta do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Thaddeus and Eric are both in the house today, and we are enjoying this. We're not outside. It seems like it might be raining.
We outside, chat. Also, we in the building.
We in the building, but we're outside. We're outside in the building. Yeah, that's sort of crazy garbage there. That makes no logical sense. But then again, this is someone who does believe the Quran is true, so I can understand why you would have contrary beliefs. So let's go ahead and dive on into the topic while waiting. Now, I'm going to post the live stream studio link so anyone can join. Also, let me know how this actually sounds, because I have no clue with this microphone. I actually realized that the last couple of times I used it, I didn't have it set up right. So although it was like actually lighting up and everything, it was just going off a different microphone. Oops. I was like, man, that audio doesn't sound as good as I was hoping. And I was like, oh, it's called operator error. If you guys ever do any sort of coding, that's like the default. You got to check, make sure operator error didn't occur. In other words, someone was stupid who was operating this. Actually, I have a fun story of that when I've done those sort of things, but I'll leave that for later. Some crazy operator.
I didn't know that Malik was your tech guy.
No. I'm my own tech guy. No, I had one time that I was up at working for a company at one time, and they kept having me come in to fix this test that wasn't working, and they're complaining. It's like the computer's not turning on, the test system's not turning on, nothing's turning on. What is wrong? It's like, are you sure you want me to drive out there? Yeah, it was a bit of a distance. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I can't troubleshoot it from where I'm at, so I got to go ahead and go in. I go in. The individual who did this was starting up the test system, forgot to plug the thing in. It was literally unplugged. I'm like, okay. Okay, when they say unplug, plug in, it's mostly to make sure, hey, stupid, did you make sure to plug this in to begin with? Just saying. So welcome, L. Thank you for joining.
Hello.
You don't have your hoodie on. You have a different hoodie.
Yeah, I can change if needed, but this is just what I was wearing already.
Are you taking Malik's advice and wearing pink for maximum sex appeal?
No, but now that you said that, like, great. Now I can never wear pink again.
Oh, yeah. If you guys aren't familiar, that's what Malik has told the Dawa girls, that they have to stop wearing black. They have to start wearing pink, which, well, according to some scholars in Islam, is absolutely wrong. But, it's Malik. He thinks he knows everything.
Saddest part of that is black and pink are some of my favorite colors for clothes.
Well, we'll allow it. We'll allow it because we know that the clothes you wear doesn't determine whether a man lusts after you or not. That the man determines that, even though the God of Islam seems to think otherwise. He thinks seem to think that what the man does is the woman's fault. So we'll allow you to wear whatever you want to wear.
That's good because if I were to even think about taking this off, I know Malik would have a huge problem with that, considering I wasn't even trying to take off the Islamic Dilemma hoodie, and it was still like, she's taking it off by showing it off. What? What's happening here? It's like, yeah, seriously, what is happening here in your brain, Malik? Like, what?
I mean, this is what it comes down to, right? It's really how sick the person's mind is, how perverted the man's mind is that he can take anything and turn it into something sexual, no matter what it is. It is sexual by its very nature, even when it's not. But then again, he's coming from a guy who went to the desert. He follows a guy who went to the desert and got banged by 30 men. So, okay. It kind of comes with the territory. So, okay. So what were you guys is, before we begin, because I did this for Thaddeus, I might as well do this for L. How can people find the content that you do and what do you do?
You can find me here on YouTube at LISO Elohim. Although it's funny because AP just texted me today, Apostate Prophet just texted me today and said, hey, you should consider rebranding and changing your name. So for now, you can find me at LISO Elohim. And I run the Seek and Share Truth conferences. So you can find my content also on seekandsharetruth.org. You can find Malik's favorite outfits ever on seekandsharetruth.org as well. You can get hoodies, you can get onesies, lots of different options there because you can get them in polyester or cotton. You can get the onesies in like a nice fleece, or you can get them in like looper back jersey, all kinds of different stuff going on there. And then you can also RSVP for the conferences on that website, which within the next 48 hours, all that should be available for you, Lord willing. Tomorrow we're planning on announcing the conference at the location that it's planned for in Cleveland this year. So super excited about that and looking forward to that being available for everyone. So yeah, if you're looking for videos on apologetics, polemics, and evangelism, check out LISO Elohim, which is my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on X and other places. And if you're looking for an in-person and online conference experience, check out seekandsharetruth.org, where we will hope to help you be trained and equipped in apologetics, polemics, and evangelism all the more. And you get to hang out with super cool people, because if you think the people you watch here on YouTube are cool, wait until you meet them in person, is what I will have to say to that.
So we have a quick question here for you. I know they added me, but I'm like, okay, this is definitely a question for L because she designed them. So there is a question for you right there in the chat.
I will have to check if there is a cotton version of the onesie itself. There is a cotton version of the hoodie, but it does contain small amounts of something else. So I can pull up all that information for you if you would like. I will have to get back to you on that though, so we don't like have to stall while I'm pulling up all that information, because like allergies are a big deal for sure. Like for most people, it's not going to be something that really is an impact if there's like 1%. But if it is an allergy, I definitely don't want to tell you the wrong information based on memory.
Hey, Thaddeus, man, stop bringing your Dimmy around. If your Dimmy is hanging out, seriously, he needs to stay in the back room. You know. And it's all your comments there. It's like, if you're bringing him around here, come on, the Dimmy free zone here.
Is his Dimmy here somewhere?
Well, that's what his question was there.
Yeah, someone said my number one fan was in the chat, so I said was Dimmy Malik here, but no, it was someone else apparently.
Okay.
I was about to say.
That
Man.
I would have been very impressed because I just posted like 2 minutes ago that I was going live, and that was the only indication I'd be here. So if he's like following me that closely, I definitely would have been impressed.
Well, did you tell him about it on X since he's following you on there now? If you didn't publicly post it on X, then yeah, maybe he will be following you.
Maybe I
here in
should
a
go
few minutes.
post it on X.
I mean, you got to keep track of your dimmies, man. You can't just let them go wagging around their tail everywhere.
It's true.
Is my video super laggy? Because I keep
little bit.
seeing lag. It looks like it's currently working, but it was like pretty bad there for a while. I think I may not be able to pull up certain information on this computer while I'm streaming. I think it's a little bit too bogged down. Sorry about that. Whoever was asking me about allergies, please send me an email. I will. I was gonna post it in the chat, but I know that's gonna post under Your Brother in Christ to like all his streaming platforms. It's my username right here, no spaces @gmail.com though. If you send me an email, I can send you all the information on that. Since my computer is being laggy, sorry about that. But if you go to seekandshare-truth.org, I know that the hoodies information should just pull up on the description. If you go to the description, it should say like 96% cotton, like 3% whatever, like that sort of thing, or Bicros. I don't want to make up the actual percentages, but it should all show there. But I'm not super sure on the onesies, so I can get that information to you directly. Sorry about that.
So we do have a super chat here. Says, "Hi y'all." Keeping with the Eric from Ohio theme there. Okay, I respect that. A few coins in thanks for all y'all do. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's always good to see you guys. And I mean, our Dearborn trip was fantastic. Actually, it was kind of surprising in some regards, but I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. What were some of your guys' thoughts on the Dearborn trip itself? I mean, we could start with just like what happened in Ohio first and then go on up to Dearborn itself. But what are your general thoughts?
Yeah, so I know that we did a stream, I think the three of us, not too long ago, after our first Dearborn trip from last week. And then after that, we all together with a bunch of the crew, I don't know what all you introduced at the beginning, but God Logic, David Wood, Life, and David's son Lucian, and Thaddeus and Eric and I, and some of our other friends went to 2 different colleges. So first we went to Columbus State Community College. There's a Dawa table there that I had gone to the prior week. And it's interesting because they have all this Dawa material there. But whenever they would make a claim and I would say, what about this counterpoint based on Islamic sources? They would affirm the Islamic sources, but claim to have no idea that they said the things that they said, which is fine. I'm always happy to be like, yeah, I'll look into that. We'll get back to each other. You know, I'd be happy to come back next week, talk about these things. But it was like hadith after hadith after hadith after hadith, debunking the claims that they were making and then being like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, yes, it's trustworthy and reliable, but like, I don't know about this. So one of them told me that they would come back the following week. We had planned for the following Thursday. I went on a Thursday of 2 weeks ago. And then we had planned on them coming back and meeting up with me and some of my friends. I didn't list out the names of my friends, but I also wasn't sure 100% which ones would be coming. But I knew that David Wood had actually made the request that we would all roll up together, Lord willing, if we had the time. We had some other plans for that week, and then we were going to end it with this, but it ended up working out the other way around, which was super cool. So Thursday, God Logic was able to join up with us and David and the whole crew. And we showed back up, but they had told me the week before that they would be bringing a hadith scholar. And it was several things went like kind of not as planned. the point was to show up at this college, while there's students walking past, get to interact with a bunch of the students, get to interact with the Dawa table. But then I think it was like the night or two before, somebody messaged me and said, hey, Dawa table switching to Wednesday. And I'm like everybody's travel plans were for Thursday. Like, that's not going to work. So I was able to reach out to some of the Dawa dudes, and they said, oh, yeah, the Hadith scholar and I will, still be able to be there Thursday. We'll make it work for you, since, Thursday is only going to be what works for your friends and you. And we showed up and found out it was like there was no classes that day. So there were like next to no students walking around outside of the Dawa area. There were some, but not comparatively to like a day where they're walking between classes the whole time. But they pulled up with like not just the Hadith scholar, not just his friend, but like a whole crew. There was a ton of Dawa people. And so we walked up and started engaging. And I thought it, like we kind of staggered. So some of us walked up at first, and then some of us walked up behind. And I say, hey, like whatever, like hi, to the people that I had seen before and the people that I had just been meeting right then. And as they saw David and Avery coming up, they're like, oh, that's David, that's Avery, yay! Like, it's very interesting. So we had lots of fun with that, had lots of engagements. I don't know what depth you wanted me to go into, Eric, and I don't want to take up like everybody's time talking about these things, but some of the people
questions coming in, but
okay.
Just give a brief first introduction concept.
Okay. So some of the people were very happy to engage and genuinely cared. There was one Muslim who did indeed accept a Bible and said he would read it, which, praise God, that's awesome. There was another Muslim who had said that they were already actually interacting with a pastor and trying to understand scripture. Praise God for that. And he seemed interested in genuine dialogue. There were, of course, other guys that were just there for the talking points while on camera. But there were lots of them that were interested in being different off camera. So it seemed, at least. So there were varying levels of genuineness there. But I think that we had some really productive conversations, and that others who do care more could also benefit through those conversations via seeing them online. If they were concerns that maybe not the Dawa guys actually cared about their responses to, but maybe those who are listening in may, especially when they are talking points that are repeated over and over and over. Well, if X, Y, Z, then how is Y, Z, X? And it's like, well, no, we actually genuinely have answers to these things. Which is super cool to see. Oh, here's like how somebody else like kind of like responds to the concerns, and oh, those actually were genuine concerns of mine. Now, like, I have a response. We've even gotten feedback like that after the fact, which is awesome and a blessing. And then we also went over to Columbus, to Ohio State University, also in Columbus, after that, and had some really good dialogues and engagements there as well with Christians and Muslims alike. Of course, there was some not good engagements as well, but we can go into all those details later.
I gotta get that video yet.
Yeah, so that's the Columbus, I guess, initial overview, and there are still more opportunities there. I know there's actually a surprising number of people in Columbus, Ohio. So if you are anywhere near Columbus, Ohio, and you would like to engage with us, please reach out. Again, my email is this with no spaces at gmail.com. I'd love to discuss with you, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, atheist, agnostic. Yeah. So yeah, that's I'll start with that, and I'll let other people talk about stuff.
Yes, I'll just add a couple things to that. At Columbus State, it was very interesting. Like you said, there were other Muslims who were having conversations with us in the background, but the Hadith scholar, right, he engaged with Avery. And then after they discussed one topic, he insisted on bringing up another topic, and Avery's like, no, it's my turn to bring up a topic. And so those two like kind of just debated whether to have a debate for a couple hours. And it wasn't because Avery really wanted to do that, but it was because every time Avery tried to engage with another Muslim, the guy would block it. So there's been some accusations of Avery blocking debates, but it's quite literally what the Hadith scholar guy was doing. He wouldn't debate Avery, but also wouldn't allow anyone else to. So he ended up just wasting tons of Avery's time debating whether to have a debate or not. And like one of the other Muslims like would be like, "Hey, you should debate Uthman," and be like, "Seriously, Uthman, the guy that's been running for me for weeks." So then they would debate Uthman and whether he is running but they had one substantive conversation, and then they wasted the rest of the time, which was very disappointing. That this guy was both unwilling to engage, but also unwilling to let anyone else engage. It was kind of pathetic because, I mean, clearly he was scared that if Avery talked to someone else, that person would be humiliated. He felt he was the only one that had adequate knowledge to do the talking, I guess. And that's pretty sad when you're at a Dawa table and the Dawa guy doesn't trust the other Dawa guys to accurately represent his religion. But that is what Islam is all about. You're either ignorant of everything or you have to know everything. There's not really any in between. And so if these guys were in between, they might as well just say nothing at all, because that's worse. Knowing some stuff is worse than knowing nothing in Islam. And the other thing at Columbus State, I have to dispute your description, Eric. It says we won every debate, but at Columbus State, we did encounter one individual who was exceptionally good, the Dawa Goose. The Dawa Goose came running through, honking very loudly, and it won the debate. And it was the best Dawa we saw all weekend, I think. And it was the lone winner of a debate, I would have to say.
Now I do want to.
This was good.
I do want to stick up for the Christians here, Thaddeus, because I don't think you're presenting the entirety of the situation. Anyone who was actually there in person or watched online clearly saw that Dawa Goose running from us. So is it really fair to say the Dawa Goose won? No, I don't think so. Like, I can concede a little bit and meet you part way, but no, that Dawa Goose definitely ran. It was big and boisterous, but not a.
Yeah, well, I learned from Uthman, right? It learned from the best Dawa has. It learned from Uthman. The only way a Dawa guy can look good is by running away. And so the goose made the wise decision of making a lot of noise and running away, just like Uthman.
Absolutely. So there are a couple of questions here. Was AP there? Yep, AP was in Dearborn with us. He was able to join for quite a bit, and then he went to a ranch afterwards. So there's that as well, which we will be seeing that here before too much longer. And I may say, at least I have my own vote on who won that. I think I have a solid vote on who actually won the last demolition ranch. Yes.
So as far as AP goes, AP was also with us for part of the Columbus like different interactions. He was not there at Columbus State Community College, but he was there with us at Ohio State University. So that was pretty cool.
So the next question we have here was, has anyone else bought the Islamic Dilemma book yet? No, I have not. It's on my to-do list. Been a little busy. It's been pretty crazy here.
So I got some inside knowledge that they're going to get it published on a Logos Bible software. So I'm going to wait for that edition rather than picking up ebook or softcover or hardcover, because I prefer my books in a Logos when available. So I'm waiting.
That is epic. Don't know why that keeps resetting. Okay. No, that'd be really cool. Have that in Logos. That would be awesome. That's going to get pushed to a whole new group of people. It's cool. Next question is, how many thought terminating Clutch did you guys encounter? So how many thought terminating like stupid arguments did we encounter? And do we
Yeah,
have
there
a
were
favorite?
cliches are quite common.
Yeah. Well, it kind of comes with the territory. You kind of have to have those within Islam in order to stay a Muslim.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, how many conversations did we have? Because it's the
lot.
number of bad arguments is at least as great as the number of conversations. So,
I would say greater. There were far more cliches that we encountered than conversations, and we had a lot of conversations. I mean, there were probably what would you say, like more than a dozen Muslims that we talked to, that were associated with Dawa tables, as well as like others that we talked to as well, and that's just in Columbus. There were tons and tons and tons of people coming and going in various places in Dearborn, and I don't know which had more cliches, but yeah, more cliches than conversations for sure. And that's especially bad when some of the conversations did not have as many cliches in them. The ratio is still quite high.
yeah, as far as favorite, I mean, you could take that two ways. So I guess I'll take it both ways. Like the most ridiculous and the best conversation. So probably the most ridiculous thing I encountered was actually not a Muslim. So credit to Muslims. It was this absolute comic book character clown who spent 30 minutes walking in circles around Eric. And then when I finally got him to like disengage from that, well, it was actually credit to Muslims. It was actually a Muslim who went and like kind of got the campus security to get the guy to step away. But after that happened, I tried to get him to re-engage in conversation because he did start in conversation. Well, I mean, not very genuine, but he did start in conversation. And then it devolved to him just walking in circles because he was such a clown. But then when I did get him to engage, pretty soon he started saying, "Why do you want to murder people? Why do you want to murder people?" I'm like, I didn't. I don't. I mean, he just kept saying that over and over again because he's like, the only reason you don't do evil is because you believe in God. Therefore, you want to murder people, but don't because you have this false belief. Which was, of course, utter nonsense. I don't want to murder anyone except maybe that guy. I mean, but no, I don't want to murder him. But that was definitely the dumbest, worst conversation of the whole week-long adventures. The best was probably this young man. He was at least 16 because he drove off, but he probably, if he was an adult, he wasn't much over 18. He was pretty young, and he was very interested in having genuine conversations. And another Muslim kept telling us that we're not allowed to talk to children, demeaning the guy, and we kept sticking up for him, and we ended up having some very good conversation with him. So that was probably the best conversation. And I've seen that, not that every young person is genuine and every old person isn't, but it does seem to be a much better ratio the younger you are of how likely they are to engage in genuine conversation. It's almost like you're trained in the mosque to stop engaging with people and just spout slogans or something.
Yeah, see, that's the opposite in Christianity. You go to training in order to get the encouragement to go and engage with people. And here it's the opposite. Nah, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. Don't talk to them yet. Don't talk to them. Gotta know the script. Gotta know that script. I'd say I would agree with both of you. I think those were actually, I agree 100% with Thaddeus. I think those were the most productive conversations was with that young man, and then the most non-productive conversation, other than just demonstrating my patience with stupidity, would be the guy, the atheist, which was so stupid because we had the conversation with him for quite a while, and of course he keeps accusing us of being the next mass shooter, right? He keeps accusing us of going, oh, if you didn't believe in God, you just kill everyone. It's like, no. What we're saying is Christianity gives us the moral framework to go by. There's nothing restricting us if we just go through an atheist mindset or justifying that you can't murder people. That's purely Christianity that gives you that. Now, that said, the reason why he kept going around me is he kept wanting to mess with my camera the entire time because he got ticked off that I was recording him. In fact, when I started recording him, he's like, I'm going to go tell the security on you that you're recording me. I don't give consent to this. I'm like, I know how Ohio is a single consent state, so that doesn't matter. So, yeah, I can record you all I want because we're in a public place and there is no expected privacy at all anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So he went, complained. They told him, get over it. So he eventually came back, yelled some rather nice words at us. I'm being a little sarcastic with that as he decided to walk away. Then he came back and wanted to talk with us, engage, and then started wanting to play with the camera. And he kept going to where the quick release is on my camera. Is where he kept wanting to hang out. And it's like, dude, no. So then he decided to play a waiting game with me, which I will win.
Yeah, it was very impressive because he was being an absolute clown. Like no normal person would have, like, I mean, it might have, I'm not talking about legality here, right? I'm talking about like people's mindset. No normal person would have had any problem with you punching the guy in the face because of the way he was acting. He was literally getting up in your face and saying random stupid crap, and you were just standing there, not saying a word to him, just standing between him and the camera for quite some time, before we finally had to get the security guard to tell him to back up, you freak.
I think it's hilarious because it was the Muslim Dawah table that got security on him. Because it was like, guys, I don't want to get blamed for what's going on here. I'm just going to go get security. It's like, well, I'm not getting security on you. I'm not going to call it on you, but I mean, we just kept going round and round. And yeah, you say extremely sexual things. He would continue to try to get any sort of reaction out of me. And I knew that's the type of guy he is, because the type of guy he is gets extremely nervous when someone doesn't talk. So he has to fill the area with just useless noise. So yeah, security came over, said, give each other personal space. I'm like, I'm not following him around. He's literally going around my equipment trying to mess with it. He leaves my equipment alone. I have no problem with him. So,
and then the guy was so dumb, right? He was so dumb that you like took a couple steps back, and he still tried to follow you with the security guard right there. And then he tried to argue with the security guard. I'm not doing anything. I'm just walking.
Yeah, it's like, dude, the security guard isn't stupid. And the security guard was like actually kind of, he was an older guy. He was actually nervous that I was going to do something. Because I think he'd be expecting, okay, there's only so far you can push someone before they actually do something. And this guy's way over the line at this point. So the security guard came up to me afterwards and like, thank you for not doing anything. So yeah, that was a fun event there. Eventually, yeah, he just knocked it off. But yeah, just as a point of reference, ever since I was early teens, I've been going out and hunting white-tailed deer. In order to do that, you have to sit in the woods without talking, quietly to yourself, all alone, up to 8 to 12 hours a day for at least an entire week, possibly, depending on if you see and actually get anything. So yeah, 40 minutes, it's a drop in a hat. So get to enjoy that. Elle, is there something you wanted to share?
in regards to
I don't
what
know.
right
You
specifically?
set something on.
Yeah, it was about the Dawa guys. Are you talking about it in the private chat?
Yeah, in the private chat. Yes. Did you want me to share that? You gave no
Oh,
context.
so I at the beginning of the stream was just mentioning about our upcoming conference. So I just figured if you wanted that link that is public now for the fundraiser that we have
Oh,
for the conference,
nice.
it hasn't been shared publicly yet, but if you wanted to share it, it's there for you.
Good, because I know Jack Ray's in the chat and he was asking about that earlier.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and post that there. Again,
Yeah.
this is an open call-in, so you guys can come up and we can have a conversation. But yeah, I'm going to post this.
Look at that! You get the advanced inside scoop on the conference by tuning in today.
There you go.
Literally the first people to get to see this.
And this is why you tune in.
I always feel bad publishing the fundraiser because it's always something that I'd prefer that we didn't have to do, because we want to make everything freely available to everyone with no barriers, which is why it's a free conference, which is why we do the fundraiser at all, because we have free tickets for everyone. But this is helping support, I believe, 14 plus different ministries, 15 ministries currently. So know that if you do decide, should the Lord will, that you do want to donate, know that you will be helping 15 different ministries and training up and equipping people in apologetics, polemics, and evangelism. But of course, do not feel compelled that you have to donate, because despite the Dawa dudes projections, this is not for money. We are not doing ministry for the sake of money. Trust me, there are much, much, much better revenues than ministry on YouTube and evangelism on street corners. It does not pay the bills, not for us at least, but we're happy to help enable ministries to grow and be able to feed their families and be able to travel to train and equip more and more people in apologetics, polemics, and evangelism. So thank you to everybody who wants to help make that possible, whether it's through your attendance at the conference itself. We greatly value your participation in person and online, or whether it's through donations. So thank you.
So yeah, I'd say that is something, whenever I've started doing this ministry and stuff, that's something that I went to. It's a part of ministry where it's like, yes, we need donations. That's how we do this. That's how we do these sort of conferences. How we do even this ministry here definitely helps. I don't know why this keeps turning down on me. That's weird. Okay.
Well, hold on a second. I heard from a very reliable source that you guys got paid by God Logic to come and be his groupies in Dearborn.
Oh, that's so sweet of him. I wonder when that check will arrive, because I haven't
missed
heard of
the
this
memo.
before now.
I must have missed something.
Oh, but you mean Malik was wrong? Dang it. I should stop trusting that guy.
Considering he laughs at people who take his word for things, I mean.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
No, it was it was very good to be able to share the gospel with the lost, though. There is way more value in that to me personally than money. Way more value, because money may keep you alive physically, but it doesn't keep you alive spiritually. And there's lots of people out there that do not have eternal life because they are in opposition to Christ. And so by extending the good news of salvation of Jesus, that only he can provide, because he is our Lord and he has offered to take on the wages of sin, which is death, and provide eternal life and reconciliation to him. So by offering, extending the offer, making the offer be in their awareness, that is of far more eternal value than just staying alive physically, which is also important, to be fair, but not anywhere near as important. Harry said, if I may interrupt the lovely lady.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
this is
sure.
an open call-in, so you guys are welcome to join us. We also have the link, which I posted periodically. Just click that. It's through StreamYard, so it's a link in the browser itself. So you can go ahead and join and come on in and talk. I am grabbing some questions as I see them, but I'm probably not the best at grabbing all the questions. So it would be easier just to have a conversation with you. Suggestion as far as, I guess, fundraisers go or making money. Dawa rugs seems to be an awfully popular option nowadays.
Well, those rugs, if you can call them rugs, because they look like the thinnest, cheapest piece of fabric you could possibly imagine. They probably cost Ali Dawa, based on the fact that he seems to have bought a whole shipping container's worth, he probably paid somewhere around like 50 cents, 60 cents per rug. So, he's being very generous giving you a free rug for your donation that cost him basically nothing.
Yeah, those rugs are not useful for even blankets, let alone comfortable rugs. So let's see here. We've got a couple others real quick. I already answered your question there. Scroll on up. Yes, so you guys in the United States are lucky. Here in the UK, social media posts about Islam can be, potentially land you in jail. Yeah. So you can get easily, and we've got a lot of different references to that actually happening in the UK, and it's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all.
Yeah, Yasser Qadi, everyone was very, and understandably, right? Everyone focused in on him saying that no one believes in academia trusts the hadith. But in the same interview, he said some other very interesting stuff, such as that in many ways, the United Kingdom is more fundamentalist Salafi than Saudi Arabia. So Islam is thriving in the United Kingdom while it's dying in the Middle East. Very interesting times we live in.
So we do have a super chat here. Love the crew. Keep speaking the love of Christ. Yes, that is our goal. So once you found Christ, your life will change. Absolutely. Even failed rapper Malik, don't mess with our Christian women. Absolutely. Is that too much to ask? Is it too much to ask that you don't threaten to rape women? I mean, that seems like a pretty basic request, in my opinion, but seems a little too much for Malik. So let's see here. I think I've grabbed all the questions. If I missed your questions, make sure to call in.
There was one that just came in from Preacher Man 4. Okay. Question for Thaddeus.
A question for Thaddeus. There we go. Okay, gotcha.
Sorry if it's too personal. Does your wife go along in the trips? And if not, is it hard being away for these periods of time? So unfortunately,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Unfortunately, my wife is mostly homebound these days. She has been known to go on trips and will potentially go on trips, but for the most part, she is pretty much homebound due to her disability. Obviously, it's not ideal being away from my wife, but also I'm not a I'm not a Dawa guy who's just like consumed by lust. So, getting to do ministry for a few days and then return to the family, both parts of that are very nice.
I'd say we have had your wife on one of the trips that we've been able to go on together. I think that was the ETS trip that we went on. And it was a blast having her along with us. She wasn't able to join us for Dearborn, but it was still a fun time, in my opinion.
She did join us also for part of previous Seek and Share Truth conferences, which was cool.
Oh, yeah, she did. That was fun having her along.
Yeah, she even got to do someone's makeup. We'll leave it at someone, but she got to do someone's makeup.
Wait, you don't want to... Yeah.
Yes, just someone's makeup in some sort of situation that may or may not be on YouTube. Yes. I plead the fifth, and if you don't understand what that is, you need to be educated in U.S. Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and what it means to be American.
But I will still answer no. For the sake of, you may not care, but I do, so no.
It's like, do I look like I wear makeup? No.
What
That's
does that
'cause
say
you're a
about the older
witch.
person?
Witches don't wear makeup. Eric doesn't wear makeup. It's the proof. See, Elle's not even wearing a hat, and Eric's still wearing a hat. He's the real witch.
No.
Dun, dun, dun. I think it's actually technically warlock then. I'm pretty sure witches are supposed to be exclusively female, but we can get into mythology another time, I guess.
Hey, in these days and age, gender roles are they're all changed, and we can have male witches and female warlocks.
I guess so. And here you go. Yes, Eric looks like he is a witch in male makeup. You need your eyes examined. You might want to go check them out at an eye doctor.
If Malik was here, he'd probably be like, I still prefer the goat.
Yeah, I don't doubt he does. Stay away from my goats, man. You're threatening my wife with rape, and now, yes, I do have goats, so I need to make sure I check the goat barn regularly, I guess.
That's probably why he keeps playing the Eric from Ohio video for his audiences to see, because he's like, man, there's some nice goats in that video.
And I got many more, too, so yeah. Oh, my God. I didn't think that as far as security goes. Maybe I may make sure I have like security cameras in my goat pens, just to be thorough. Okay. So yeah, male witches are warlocks. So I was right about that. Cool. After pretty sure. Are Eric and Elle married? Yes. Last I checked.
The rings that Malik is apparently jealous of.
Yeah.
For proof.
Yeah, no matter how much those rings cost, Malik, they still gave it back to you. The fact that they weren't even worth keeping is a bad sign. Yeah, we appear in different rooms because we have two different studios set up. So Elle has hers and I have mine. Technically, I had mine first. So, but I do admit Elle's definitely looks better now. Looks more professional. Definitely with the red curtains. The red curtains look very professional.
He's only saying that because I wanted pink curtains, and everybody was like,
I know.
no.
Everyone's like, no, the red looks so much better. For good reason.
We failed
Well,
to
at least-
consider
Oh, go ahead.
we failed to consider the appeal factor, though. So there's that.
Oh man, yeah. If you had pink curtains, we could so have played that off. Man, now I'm disappointed in myself.
Malik is the guy who is responsible for all the Dawa people who are successful. And he says that the only difference between being successful and not successful is what clothes you wear. So, and he actually said that I didn't actually clip this part, so no one would even know this necessarily. But he said that the main thing holding Libiano back is he needs to lose some weight. So,
man, attacking his weight. Jeez, okay.
I mean, he seems pretty normal sized to me, but according to Malik, if he lost some weight, he'd be unstoppable.
The funniest part about that is I've heard some people use that as like a derogatory comment on people's friends. Like, you need to lose some weight. Like, you need to get rid of the bad influences in your life. So, he might be actually onto something that Libiano needs to lose some weight when it comes to needs to drop some of the friends out of his friend circle. I don't know if any of his public friends that are actually a good influence on him, but I think it probably works both ways. I think the bad influences compound the bad influences. I think the worst influence is the false God Allah and the false prophet Muhammad, that they desire to gain popularity through serving. As Christians, we of course have the concern that we don't want to gain the whole world and lose our soul. However, Islam is very promotional of gaining the whole world and losing your soul. So, and in the end, you lose both.
Yeah, I kind of agree with this statement. Losing weight doesn't fix stupid. I'm like,
it also doesn't fix
Malik,
evil.
That is not his problem. His problem isn't the weight. I mean, he could be 300 plus pounds and have the best arguments in the world, and he would be unstoppable if he had the best arguments in the world. But if he is a skinny twig and is incredibly stupid, that's not going to help anything.
Mm-hmm. And Al was dead on there, right? It doesn't fix evil either. I mean, at least in comparison to the Dawa standard, or Orthodox lips is not necessarily on the stupider side, right? He's at least moderately intelligent, but he does seem to be one of the most evil guys on the Dawa scene. Threatening to get people killed, laughing about Chris being punched in the face, of course, saying unspeakable things about Mrs. God Logic. And then when Muslims were calling him out for his behavior, he keeps responding to them, no, you don't understand Islam. If you were a true Muslim, you would be happy I'm doing these things. So it seems to be pure evil, which is why I think you're not going to see any credible Christians associating with him, even for a debate, right? Because he's just too vile to lend any credibility to.
Yeah, I agree. We do have a super chat here asking, is Malik being a good boy? Great work to all. I would say that, I mean, seriously, if just some serious talk about him, if Malik isn't a Mossad agent whose entire purpose is to destroy the Quran in as many ways as creatively possible,
mm-hmm.
He's the worst Dawa guy ever, because I mean, if it comes out that that is what his job was to destroy it, and he's a Mossad agent, and it was all his plan was to get Qurans destroyed. Wow. Okay, I'm impressed. I would actually be impressed by Malik in that case because, I mean, seriously, even like everything this year has been off of that. The Eric from Ohio video, that didn't happen until Malik started screwing around, and it was in direct response to him. I've got 3 more songs coming up, and I do want to look at the poll later on to decide which one I'm going to do first. So I'm pretty sure I know which one. Those are all epic ones, and they're going to have Quran desecration in all 3 of them. And those wouldn't have come to be without him threatening again to rape my wife. So that's the only thing that makes any logical sense at this point, is that he's a Mossad agent who's been told to destroy as many Qurans as possible. Because that's what he's best at.
So I just saw some breaking news. As everyone probably knows, and it's directly related to what we're talking about, which is why I'm bringing it up. But as everyone knows, God Logic got a copyright strike from Muhammad Hijab because Hijab was embarrassed by the debate performance. But apparently he was not the only person embarrassed, because the Dawa guys that we're just talking about from either Columbus State or Ohio State, I'm not sure which ones, apparently have filed a privacy complaint about the video. Now, the way YouTube rules work, as a private individual who happens to appear to the background of a video or whatever and is identifiable, they have a legitimate reason to file a privacy complaint. But they were in the foreground and choosing to engage, knowing it was being recorded. It seems that
was that in the, you said which place was that at?
It just said the Dawa Booth guys, so I'm sure it's either Columbus State or Ohio State, but I don't know which one for sure.
Unless anything has changed, the only place that God Logic has posted from Ohio so far, to my knowledge, was Columbus State Community College, which is extra, I don't know what the right word here is, sketchy, kind of fits, because the Ask a Muslim national YouTube also uploaded a video from those conversations. So those people are on camera on the national Ask a Muslim YouTube. To my knowledge, they weren't blurred out there when I saw it. I don't remember seeing anybody blurred out. I could be wrong. But if Ask a Muslim, which is the Dawa booth that we went to, has the video up, why would anyone from Ask a Muslim be saying that the faces need to be blurred out? That is super sketchy. And Eric, that is what I thought you were originally talking about, like way back when you were like, was there something you wanted to bring up? Because I had I just sent a message about that elsewhere when I saw that they were making that request. Because
there's no law they violate. God Logic could post that everywhere he wants. There's no law against him.
Okay, so if it's a private, it's not against the law, but it is against YouTube policy. If it's actually a private individual and they request, right, and they request their picture being taken off. So, like, if you're filming on a street corner, that's not illegal under any state law as far as I'm aware, and, you know, someone walks by and then they find out about it somehow and they ask you to take it out of their video, that is within YouTube policy that they can do that. But that's not what happened here, right? This is not just some random person who was caught on tape in the background. These are people who knew they were being recorded, happy to engage. The guy, the Dawa scholar guy, or the Hadith scholar guy, repeatedly emphasized, you better put up the whole clip. You better not take me out of context. He knew exactly what was going on. And he kept also saying, I don't have a YouTube channel to push back and show the context, so you better be fair to me. And now apparently they're filing privacy complaints to have their faces blurred because they are so utterly embarrassed by the words they said. I mean, it's not going to change the video. It's just going to make them look worse, right? It's going to make them look worse that they had to have their faces blurred in the video. Their words will still be audible. I mean, it's just so dumb.
Yes, they are that scared of logic. What's so bad about this is like, okay, so Muhammad, yeah, it's so bad of him. So Muhammad Ajab gave verbal permission for God Logic to release the stream that they're doing. In fact, he even gave him verbal permission to stream it to his channel at the same time. And instead of being honest about it, he realized it was so embarrassing that he tried to copyright strike it, even though, again, he's already given permission. And now these guys are doing the same. They are so terrified of Avery. It's just mind-blowing how fast these guys are trying to run away.
Yeah, I must say that Dawa seems to be admitting that Avery is utterly just single-handedly, not that other people aren't doing work too, but Avery by himself apparently is utterly destroying Dawa. And then you got many other people also destroying Dawa. So the Dawa scene is just in utter panic, right? So January, Uthman earned the new nickname Uthran. It ended what little credibility he had left. Obviously, he'll still have his fans, but ended what little credibility he had left. February, Speaking Muslim literally left the Dawa scene after Malik revealed. Well, he cooperated. They both got in an argument and both revealed that speaking was the source of the doxing information. And as a lawyer, he's in big trouble. Even if he doesn't face legal trouble, he's in big trouble with the California Bar Association. So he literally left Dawa. He did eventually come back, but he has removed speaking from his name and doesn't do Dawa anymore. So his Dawa career literally ended in February. Now we got the end of Muhammad Hijab's career, it seems. It was bad enough that he got humiliated on the live stream, but copyright striking, I mean, that is just going to make things 10 times worse for Hijab. I mean, he was already on the decline, obviously. He already lost so much credibility with his stupid lawsuit and losing that and the Aisha sexual abuse scandal. But, man, we got less than 4 months into the year, at least 3 Dawa careers effectively ended. Are there going to be any Dawa guys left by the end of the year?
Nope. And it seems like Malik waited until they were basically done with the conference, because I'm looking at Malik's post right now, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming to the event."
I don't want to waste the gas. He said, "Are you going to be there? Because I don't want to waste the gas." Okay, first of all, he lives in LA, so LA's large, but maximum 2-hour drive in heavy traffic, $10 over gas or something. I don't want to waste my gas. This is the guy who's the big baller with unlimited sources of money, according to himself. But he doesn't want to waste the gas. That's his excuse for not showing up. But Avery posted last night exactly where they would be. And Avery and AIP, Inspiring Philosophy, just posted a video not very long ago saying, "Why didn't Malik pull up? We told him where we were going to be. We're in his city. Where is he?" And then suddenly, I just found out. I don't want to waste my gas.
This is coming again. This is coming Malik. This is coming from Malik, who is supposed to be like, "Hey, you guys can't even touch down in California without my say so. I'll know if you guys pull up or even go here." And it's like, okay, they literally announced this event for literally weeks. And Malik is now like, "Oh, no, I can go. Now I can go." They're going to be gone, but now I can go. Oh, see, they ran from me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, just like when Avery was in Balboa Park and Malik was like, "Oh, I'm only 46 minutes away, but I don't want to go because he might leave before that." Even if that happened, it's still only an hour and a half of your time. You're so desperate to pull up on him, but, I'm 45 minutes away. He might be gone. I can't go and do that.
Yeah, again, come on. If I had someone that I wanted to go talk to, and they were, let's say, an hour and 16 minutes away, I would just go.
Mhm.
Is there a chance they could leave? And definitely in this sort of case where it's like, I'm going there to confront them, I'd let them know, hey, I'm just going to show up. Here's where I'm coming. Here's my ETA. This is when I'm planning on being there. If they decide they're just going to ditch, well, then I got a video right there showing, hey, I let them know. I came here. I showed up. They ditched. Don't know why, but they decided to no longer be here when I said I was going to be here.
Mhm.
But I don't wait until they say, oh, we're going. We done. We're all finished here. Oh, I want to show up now. I want to do it. Golly.
Again, the exact location was posted last night. Plus, the conference site was posted weeks ago, and
Yes.
Avery and IP both explicitly called it out, saying, Malik, if you want to show up, this is exactly where we'll be. Like, he could have gone to the conference. He could have got, if he didn't want to pay for the conference, we could have stood outside the building. He could have gone where he could have paid attention to their social media and saw exactly where they would be. But no, after they call him out, post a video calling him out, then suddenly he just finds out about it and he's on his way, but they better wait for him.
Oh, convenient. And even if they did, he's not going to show up. The coward's not going to show up. He doesn't have enough gumption. Even the chance of them still waiting and being there. He's like, no. He can't show up. He can't roll up on them. He's too scared to. So again, I do want to remind you guys to go over to X, to PBD's X account, and make sure to comment on there that you want to see Avery on the PBD podcast. It would be epic if we push him on that. That would be cool. Think how awesome that's going to be if he does that. That would be just absolutely blow my mind if he gets on there and is able to tell them the truth of what's going on.
Oh, I see my number one fan is still around. And, you know, Malik, I know that you'll probably watch this at some point. Not right now because you're too busy obsessing about God logic. But later when you're watching this on a replay. I do apologize, but Big Mahmood has been fawning after me for far longer than you have, Malik. So I do have to give him credit for being my number one fan. Unfortunately, he's even dumber than you, Malik. All he ever does is come to streams and be like, I feel so much peace when I'm a Muslim. And then 5 seconds later, I will kill all the Christians. I'm so happy what they do to Christians in Pakistan and stuff like that. And he's bragged about how he can create 1,000 new accounts by pushing a button. And he does have a new account every time, but he has a very distinctive way of talking, and this time he's under a name that says Mahmood. So I know it's you, buddy. I know it's you. And I got multiple da'is fawning after me. They all want to be my love interest, but I'm just gonna have to say I'm not interested. I don't swing that way. I'm not like your prophet. I'm not looking for 30 men to ride me. So as much as you want to fantasize about it, I can't stop you from fantasizing, but it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. So maybe you should take no as no and move on with your life.
So let's go ahead and head back to the topic, us going up to Dearborn. So we covered kind of like the college campuses here and the events that happened here. So then we went up to Dearborn there, and we were able to meet up with the group that was going up there. I didn't know everyone that was going to be there. I didn't. I just knew that this is what the plan was, and we're going to go up there and hang out, and we're going to go in front of a mosque. We're going to try to talk to Muslims. We're going to try to get sort of the dawah from them, or lack thereof, which seemed to be more the case. But that was our goal, was to go up there and just have conversations with Muslims and see where it goes. So, Thaddeus, do you want to give any insights to like the first day?
It's kind of a blur, but the first day was when we were at the outside the mosque for probably like what 6, 7 hours, something like that. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the first day, we got there Thursday night, but the first full day, Friday, of course, is the day of prayer for Muslims. They're equivalent to church for them. So we went outside one of the largest mosques in the country, and we stood on the sidewalk, on the public sidewalk, not on their property. We're very careful about that. And attempted to engage Muslims as they're coming out of the mosque. And although a few people wanted to like scream at us or whatever, no one seemed to want to engage. It seemed like maybe a memo went out. Don't talk to these people no matter what. But something very interesting happened. Everyone like got in their cars, but some people just sat in their cars and waited until everyone else had left. And then they got out of their cars and came and talked to us because they really did want to talk to us, but they knew that they weren't supposed to. So they didn't want to see other Muslims to see them talking to us. So once that happened, we did get we got a variety of conversations going. Down at the one end was God Logic and some of his close associates, and they engaged quite a number of Muslims down there. Down at another end was Elle and I on the microphones. And then Eric and a couple other people were trying to engage Muslims who were walking home, handing out Bibles and such to them as they were walking home. And then after the crowds had left, Eric came and joined us on the microphones. David was kind of just walking around, filming, going back and forth between parties. Not necessarily directly engaging very many Muslims himself. He was trying to ask Muslims a question. He wasn't like trying to get into debate. He was just asking Muslims. And he actually phrased this, right? He's like, I'm not going to push back. I just want to ask you a question. I'm doing a documentary. Why do you believe in Islam? And most Muslims refuse to answer, which is very odd, right? It's very odd that they don't want to give any reason to believe in Islam. And we did have, like I said, we had a variety of conversations. We had some people who at least thought they had some talking points and were very aggressive. We had other people who were legitimately interested in hearing what we had to say. I would say that in comparison to my average experience talking to lay Muslims, there was definitely a much stronger inclination to not engage in a real conversation, to either just spout slogans or to run away. And we had one particular guy who David called the hall monitor on his video, who was trying to break up every conversation. Eventually, things kind of petered out, and most of the people went and got some food. We were like packing up our car, and someone pulled up and engaged. So we ended up staying longer, the three of us, as well as AP. AP was with us, and we engaged with a couple random Muslims who they weren't going to mosque or whatever. They just saw us driving by and stopped, and we kept. And, every once in a while someone new would pull up. So we continued that for a couple hours. And then eventually a guy comes out of the mosque and he's like, hey, it speaks to the guy we're engaging with in Arabic. And the guy kind of ducks away while we're not paying attention. And he starts talking to us, right, distracting us. And he's like, I'm glad you guys are out here doing this. You should come and attend every prayer 5 times a day for 30 days, and I guarantee it'll change your life or whatever. And so, I tried to engage him, and, he's pretending like he wants to have a conversation, but he basically just wants to give that challenge. And I'm like, well, here's my card for more information, or, if you want to continue this conversation, we do have to leave. And he's like, why would I want that? Well, turns out that guy was the so-called hall monitor. Now, he came out of the mosque when no one was in, like, no service was going on or whatever. So he apparently worked for the mosque. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like some sort of like president, vice president, whatever, someone in a leadership role at the mosque. So he was probably the reason that no one wanted to engage with us, that he specifically had given the instruction not to engage with people. And as a result, we were not able to engage with everyone, but we were able to engage with the people who cared enough to defy the order to not talk. So that was the overall experience there. That was where we talked to the young man that we mentioned earlier. Had some good conversations, some fun conversations that weren't necessarily productive, but were fun in the sense that it was lively debate. Good variety there.
Yeah, so I definitely had some good conversations. Some things said were kind of interesting to me. So I'm going to go ahead and remind you guys, make sure to like and share this live stream so we can get it out to more people, so more people know the truth of what is going on, the events that happened up there, and the fun we had, as well as the engagement with the sort of dawa that you can expect in these sort of situations. So I had some pretty good conversations. So it started there, and of course the hall monitor is splitting people up, trying to get them to go home as quick as possible. So I go ahead and walk over to one of the corners of the mosque, which is still a public walkway, went right there. And I was able to engage with some of the people there, and I asked them just very simple questions, just about a couple hadith and about how they're saved and their salvation, and why in Sahih Muslim do we read about Christians and Jews paying for the penalty of sins. And the only response I got to that, and I don't say it was a very good response, but the only response I really got to that is, hey, they're going to hell anyway, they might as well pay for it. What? No. Jeez. That's your just God, is they're going to hell, you might as well just go ahead and put the other sins on them. So that was the best response there. But the best conversation did happen at that mosque with that young man, which I do want to get the clip. I think Elle shared it on her channel. I do want to get the clip of me talking, because he was asking all the right questions. He's asking, well, why did God have to die? It's like, okay, well, here's why. Here's why God needed to have that sort of sacrifice, so that his justice and his mercy can both prevail. And he just kept asking really solid, good questions. And that was the best conversation I think I had the entire time I was there, was that conversation with that young man. But yeah, it was funny because it's like every time we were like, okay, we're close up. The prayers ended like hours ago. In fact, it was starting by the time we eventually left. The next prayer was about ready to start, but we really needed to get out of the sun. We've been saying there was no shade.
We were there for 3 services.
Oh, we were there for 3 services?
We were there for 3 services.
Wow. Okay. So we were there for a while. So, but we had, every time it would start slowing down and be like, okay, maybe it's time to leave, we'd always have someone come up every single time and be like, okay, I'm going to talk about this topic. I'm going to talk about this topic. Oh, what about this? We had a guy trying to argue. He came up, he was in a suit and tie, and he said he was going over to the bank to deposit something, but he saw us, so he wanted to come over and talk to us, which is really cool of the guy to take that time to come over and engage. But yeah, he was trying to argue that when the Bible says that Jesus was in the tomb for 3 days, that meant exactly 3 sets of 24 hours. And that makes no sense, because Jesus died on a Friday and he rose on a Sunday. And we're sitting there, and this is exactly when IP joined us, was we're talking about Easter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so funny. It was so funny, right? Because I'm engaged. By chance, I happened to be the one that was closest, and I was engaging him, and I was explaining to him that in Jewish vernacular speech, that any part of a day counts as a full day. And this is normal use of language. I actually asked him, if I say that I worked the past 3 days, or I worked 3 days this week, does that mean I worked for 72? I didn't even get to finish the question. I said, if I say that I worked for 3 days, he's like, yeah, 3 8-hour days. That makes perfect sense. Like, I didn't even get to the question, but he understood the point. I said, exactly. We don't necessarily mean 24 hours when we use the word day. The Jewish people use the word day the same way. And he's like, no, it's a contradiction. Blah, 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 blah. This is why I left Christianity, is because there's so many contradictions. And I, in fairness, I think that he did actually leave Christianity because he seemed quite proud of the fact that he'd been a Muslim since 1986 or whatever year. He said he was an older gentleman, obviously, but he was quite proud that he had converted all those years ago and was still Muslim. But his grand argument, the thing that he came into the parking lot, right? Asked what we were doing. I said that we're engaging people in conversation, and then he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, we're asking people why they're Muslim. And he got super excited, popped out of his car, and he's like, in your Bible, it says that Jesus was in the tomb for 3 days, but he wasn't. You should convert to Islam, brother.
Again, the concept of using even the 12 hours, so a 24-hour day, and even breaking up into 12 hours, that's a very recent thing to do worldwide. Things, even time zones and everything like that, is just relatively recent. The only reason we have time zones is because of trains, because they need to be able to break it up, because we are finally traveling fast enough to need to have that sort of divide. But even on top of that, the way the Jews measured a day was it was sunset to sunset, which I admit is kind of weird to me, because I would have thought sunrise to sunrise makes more sense to me. But that's not how they measured it. And of course, they would put it in terms that they would understand. And yes, according to the Jews, if it happened in the middle of the day, it counted as the full day of happening. Mm-hmm. So, yes, saying he was in the grave for 3 days is correct according to how the Jews of the time would measure it. So,
yeah, and plus, it doesn't actually say. Now, there is, of course, the verse about just as Jonah was in the belly of the whale or the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so the Son of Man will be in the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, which requires a bit more explanation. But he wasn't even going there, right? And the standard Christian phrasing is on the third day, not after 3 days, on the third day, and that's what Jesus says repeatedly. And this guy was, he was all about this. And then IP pulls up and he's like, hey, what are you guys discussing? And we're like, hey, IP.
Good opportunity.
It's your favorite subject. So he took over the conversation. I was happy to step aside and let him do it. Not that I needed his help by any means, right? I was well aware of the things, but I knew that IP really would want to discuss that topic. So I was happy to let him take over, and he ended up engaging the guy for like 30 or 40 minutes, and the guy's like, look, I really want to talk to you guys, but I also really need to get to the bank. I need to deposit this check. They're about to close. And I'm like, no problem, right?
Yeah. So we want to be respectful, but yeah, IP showed up, literally stepped out of the vehicle that he was riding in, and we're like, hey, they're talking about Easter. He's like, where? Let's go. He gets right in, dives right straight in. No hesitation. So yeah, we met up there with IP joined us there. We had AP join us there. AP joined us actually in Ohio. And then we joined up with God Logic and his crew. I was excited to actually meet quite a few of them that I've talked to online, but have not seen in person for a while. So that was really cool to be able to sit down, like the Word and I know we've done a stream together, but we haven't actually, seen each other in person. And then we're hanging out and having lunch, and it was cool. It was an awesome time to just be there with each other. and then to on top of that be doing ministry together. It's just awesome. I gotta say, something behind the scenes as far as I guess my perspective on just not only the Dearborn trip, but I'm just talking about all of the Christian apologetics group that we're in, this whole entire group, which expands quite far. We got cool people, man. We got cool people up here. It's an awesome time, and they are always legit. I mean, they're cool and they're legit. What you see as far as like David Wood online is what you see in person. There is no online David Wood. There is no in-person David Wood. And that's the same with like the word,
including Al Zoot jokes, right? Including Al Zoot jokes.
That happens. Okay. I'm writing with David and they're listening to a bunch of oldie songs and they're turning all the oldie songs into Zoot jokes. Okay. This doesn't, it's not just on like online persona, I'm this way, and then in person, I'm this way. No. And I mean, Avery's the same way. What you guys see online, what you interact with online, see him talking to people, engaging with people online with his call-ins and everything. That is the same way he is in person. He is just that friendly, just that engaging, and just that fun to be with in person as well. So it's cool to see. And again, that just, it highlights the difference because we have had a lot of the Dawa group being exposed because they live two lives. And I'm looking around and saying on our side, there isn't this like two life thing going on, at least with the people I know. Everyone I know is just on top of it. So we do still have the poll going on here. And do make sure to go vote on X and push it with the PBD podcast if you think Avery should go on, at least get an invite from PBD to go on there. I think that he would give a great perspective on that and teach him some good
and speaking of PBD, we have a new Muslim in the chat, Duran Dar. He said, expose yourself, idiots. Hey, Duran, you missed it earlier.
No, man.
I am not interested in exposing myself for you, okay? And this was right after they put some pride flags in the chat. I think they're trying to tell us, hey, I'm gay. Will you show me? No, it's not going to happen. And then they said, they gave a middle finger and said, bye-bye PBD because I wouldn't expose myself for them. You're sick. You're sick. You're just like your prophet who exposed himself to the men of Al Zut. We're not into that. Christianity's not all about that. I know that Islam is all about having pride and men-on-men action and following the example of your prophet, trying to get 30 black men to climb on top of you in the desert while your buddy watches from behind the protective magic circle. We don't do that in Christianity. I'm sorry. No matter how much you threaten me, I'm not going to expose myself for you.
So I do want to pull up this one here. I think this is from your biggest fan saying in our country, if they break our laws, then they will be punished. Well, you see, then he continues on. That is our culture. Learn to respect it. Well, you see, part of your culture is Sharia. And in Sharia, a mom and dad can kill their kids at any age. A grandparents can kill their kids and their grandkids at any age. I don't respect that. Yeah, no respect for that garbage. Absolutely not. And every time someone says learn to respect our culture, I just remember of the Indian culture that they would burn the wives whenever their husbands died. And then the British guys came there and it's like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like, oh, we're getting ready to burn this woman alive. You got to respect our culture. And he's like, okay, fine. I'll respect your culture. But in my culture, if you do that, you get executed. Load up your guns, guys. Go ahead. We'll respect your culture. You got to respect ours.
Mahmoud has a very good question. Why are you doing that to the Quran? Well, I'm teaching you to respect other cultures. So in my culture, Mahmoud, what we do is like evil, disgusting books as we take them, and then we show what we feel about them. We rip them. We take a bite out of them. We definitely, earlier you were talking about how the smoke coming from Christians' homes just makes you so happy. We love the smell of smoke coming from the Qurans. Now, I'm indoors, and I don't want to set off the fire alarm, so I'm not going to light these on fire, but I would be happy to do so for you. In fact, if you tune into Quran, go ahead and hit subscribe. Go over to Quran Demolition Ranch, search for that on YouTube. Hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and within the next 48 hours or so, you'll get to see some beautiful Quran burning, perhaps by a fire-breathing dinosaur. So
Yeah,
you'll get to see that beautiful smoke coming off. And this is our culture, so you just have to learn to respect it. You can't criticize us. You can't say this is wrong. You have to learn to respect our culture. That is what you say. So you have to follow your standard and respect my culture of doing these things to this evil, disgusting book. And if you don't like it, well, too bad. You got to learn to respect other cultures. I'll respect your culture of human trafficking, sexual abuse, persecution of Christians, killing Christians, right after you learned to respect what I do to the Quran and praise it and say, this is awesome. This is what we need in multicultural societies, is people to do these kinds of things. Then I'll say, yep, all right, at least you're consistent. I will allow you to say that I should respect your culture. I'm still not going to respect it, of course. I'm still not going to respect, because see, as Malik famously said, one of the very few things he's ever said that's correct is that there's a difference between us Muslims and Christians. Well, from his perspective, us Muslims and you Christians. From my perspective, us Christians and you Muslims. But we agree on this difference. Christians go after books. We go after arguments. We go after ideas. Muslims go after people. And Malik quite accurately said that's the difference. Our religion, we respect people. We treat them with respect, and we oppose people who don't. In your religion, you just get mad about books and other things. And you're fine to burn the crosses. You're fine to kill Christians. You're fine to rape women. As you've told me on previous occasions that you take great joy in seeing Christian women being raped. You're fine with all those things. Well, we're fine with treating your book the way you treat human beings.
Now, I just want to be clear here with Mahmoud. Here is your name written within the Quran on this page. Why did I write it there? As a reminder for on the day of resurrection, according to Islam, you will be held accountable for ripping this page out of the Quran. You will be you'll be held accountable for me tearing this. Why? Because according to the Quran, when you lead someone to do something, you are partially responsible for that act. So how condemning is it in Islam to rip a Quran page up and even be half or even partially responsible for that? That seems like a pretty damning thing, right? To hell. I mean, that's got to weigh a lot of good deeds. That's got to weigh out a lot of good deeds. So on the day of resurrection, this page here, according to Islam, is going to turn into a little birdie. And he's going to fly with your name to Allah and let him know what you did to it. So keep mouthing off and we'll keep going.
So I did get rid of this account of Mahmoud. He'll come back with another, I'm sure. He decided to say vile things about my wife, and I gave him the boot. But since you decided to talk about my wife, this special pink Quran page is dedicated to you. Now,
Fancy.
just ripping it up, I mean, that's, I do that all the time. I need to think of something special for you.
Wait. Before you do that, though, that pink page there looks a little like Malik would approve of it, right? So I got a 2-for-1 here.
All right. Yeah. Okay. This is something I've never done before. I got here my special fork that's left over from when I was at David's birthday party. What forks are nice and pokey. What can they do to Quran Pete? Maybe I'll just like penetrate this page 30 times or something. Oh man. Oh.
30 is generous considering what he said about 400.
True.
I think he's requesting 400.
Well, the fork has 4 tongues, so I guess 100 times 4. I don't know if I can fit that many on one page, but I'm trying. Mahmoud. I'm trying to help you out here. You know, just think about every time I penetrate this page, just think about how the men of Al-Zub penetrating your prophet over and over again. And try not to commit lust while I'm doing that. I know you're probably getting really turned on right now, the thought of Muhammad being penetrated over and over again by all the men of Al-Zut, and wishing you were there, wishing you were one of the Al-Zut so you could be joining in. Oh, but sadly, Muhammad is dead. Muhammad is gone. And no matter how many times you pray to him tonight, you can't get any forgiveness from him because he is burning in hell where he belongs. Oh, so sad. Look what you've done. You've made it into shreds just like the Quran says you do. You take the Quran and you make it into shreds. I didn't do this. You did this. Mahmoud. You made the Quran into shreds. So sad.
Again, this is an open call-in, so you guys can come on in. I know we got a few Muslims in the chat. They're whining right now, so let's see. You're more than welcome to come up. If you disagree with it, I can talk to you about it. I think you'll find that Muhammad would actually be on our side. If that's not shocking, well, you know your hadith. So let's see here. So, Elle, did you want to give any input to the first mosque that we went to? If not, that's okay. We can move on to another one here. So after we went to the first mosque, we drove around for a while. At least a couple of our teammates were trying to figure out exactly where would be the best place to go to engage where most of the people are hanging out. So what did we do after the mosque? Actually, I don't know if I remember. There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so we kind of went on a wild goose chase. We weren't looking for the Dawa goose, but
we were looking for Dawa. It needs a goose. So there you go. And it's Canadian too. So we're close enough.
Yeah. So, like I said, the other people had left earlier and we tried to join up with them. And it turns out that they were just kind of driving around randomly trying to look for a place to set up. So we ended up driving around randomly for a little while, and then they decided it was time to get dinner. So we didn't really have any other conversations that day. But then on Saturday, things picked back up. And you're going to have to describe that, Eric, because I stayed in the hotel the first part of the day because we found out that Malik had done some adventurous stuff and I had to prep clips. So I was only there for the second half of the day.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and take that. It was good engagement. It was fun. And there were some interesting things because we kept posting where we were at saying, hey, we're here. We were actually out in front of the old courthouse building there in Dearborn, I think it was. And we're posting where we were saying, hey, here we are. Come talk. Let's go. Where are you guys at? And we had a bunch of Christians all show up and talk. We had some Muslims show up, mostly because they were too scared to actually engage in conversation. They would just hide in their cars and yell at us as they drove by as fast as possible, trying to get out of there. So that was we had some engagement with some Muslims. Don't get me wrong, but that was the majority. Now there is a chat comment here from a Muslim saying, "Interesting. You rip Quran pages, but Muslims don't rip Bible pages. Congratulations on your Bible teaching you immorality." So if it's immoral for someone to rip someone else's or destroy a religious icon of someone else, then Muhammad himself is immoral 360 times more than we are. So good job on condemning Muhammad. And if you think that ripping pages are all we do, you don't know this channel.
But there is some things we don't do, Eric, right? We don't practice honor killings. We don't rape young girls, calling it marriage. We don't follow the most obvious false prophet in history. We don't try to intimidate people into joining our religion. We don't commit acts of terrorism. We don't go on jihad. We don't believe that if we die in jihad, we'll get a minimum of 72 virgins in paradise. We don't believe that paradise is a place where men get eternal erections and get to sleep with basically unlimited virgins, while their wives just have to sit in corners of their houses or their tents, because Muhammad was so stupid that he didn't even know what a house was. He thought everyone lived in tents. So in paradise, there's literally tents that you're in. They're very big and nice tents, but they are tents nonetheless. The women just sit in the corner tents waiting for their husbands to be done with their other 70 plus whories and come visit them for once. We don't believe any of that. We don't believe all kinds of things that you do that I would definitely say are immoral. But you're correct. We are the only ones that rip up pieces of paper. Christians are the most immoral people in the world. They rip up pieces of paper. I wish they'd just be more like Muslims and just kill people instead of ripping up a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's basically the result. Even if we look back at like the Crusades, the first crusade, when they went into Jerusalem and there was a bloodbath. When they went in there, they went too far. You see, according to the sources, an instant repent of the Christians there going in sackcloth and ashes to pray for forgiveness for what they had done. We don't see that in Islam. We see the opposite, actually, where they are proud of, like Constantinople, the rape of young women, even the emperor's daughter, on the altar of Hagia Sophia with a crucifix behind her head. That's according to Islamic sources that happened. Plus the rape of both nuns and guess what? Priests en masse. So, yeah, we don't do that. We rip a book. Our own.
And I'd like to point out that it's not just Christians that were targeted by the Muslim hordes. There are Islamic sources that brag about having to walk over a pile of bloody skulls to get into the Hindu temples that they are about to destroy. That they had massacred so many people that they literally had to walk over a pile of bloody skulls to get to the building to destroy their religious objects. So don't tell me that Muslims are not destroying religious objects. That yes, they kill all the people first before they destroy their religious object, but that is not better. That is not better.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some person who claims to be Christian in the chat who has an issue with, and I say that because I don't know, has an issue with us desecrating a false idol. Why don't you click the link, come on up, and tell us biblically, give us a biblical passage that says that we need to respect false gods. If you can give me one Bible verse where God says respect false gods, I will take your point seriously. But until then, you can stay in the chat preaching.
Yeah, this is a guy. This is another one of my fans. He's been obsessed with me ever since I attacked Sam Shamoon. I'm pretty sure he's a Sam bot, which apparently, since Sam has decided that he's going to take a break from attacking Islam, suddenly it's wrong to attack Islam. This guy has been following me around for months. He's never once said it was bad for me to destroy a Quran until after yesterday. Sam said that he was going to stop going after Islam. And very interesting cult behavior by this particular individual. But he does definitely claim to be a Christian. But he also said, "Why are you destroying our book?" when I was destroying the Quran. So, I mean, I don't know. I assume that was a typo or something, but very weird guy. Last person in the world I would trust to represent Christianity.
True. Definitely sounds like it. We have a question here. What is the PBD podcast? It is a large podcast that reaches a large number of people. That would enable Avery to reach a lot of people and teach them about the truth of Islam. So yeah, then yes, I believe full-heartedly that would be a good thing for Avery to go on there. Make sure to go, if you guys agree with me, make sure to go on X and let PBD know, because they asked who should be the next person on here. Who should we call up next to this? Mm-hmm. And I think it'd be a solid choice for Avery to represent. I think he is a good representation of Christian apologetics, and he knows Islam quite well indeed. Mm-hmm. He definitely knows it better than Mohammed Hijab any day. The PBD has not yet reached out to Avery. They were just making a public post on who they should look at. So that's why I'm saying, if we all as Christians go there and say, hey, God Logic, you need to have him up there, they might pay attention. We'll see. So yeah, so we had good conversations up there. It was a fantastic time. And then even with the people calling out, it was cool to meet everyone that came out that day. So it seemed very odd, because there's definitely someone who kept claiming that we were scared of him that didn't show up, even though we posted almost nonstop that we were going to be there, even gave him day in advance notice that we were going to be there, and he was nowhere to be seen. Really weird.
Yeah, so no, Lana says, you all praising Avery, but Avery learned from Sam Shamoon, the disciple of Christ. So I was correct, right? It's Sam Glazer here, Sam Simp to the highest degree. I'm sure that Avery learned some things from Sam. He learned some things from all kinds of places, including his own parents, right? Because he when he came onto the scene, he already knew enough to destroy Uthman, right? That's what made his career. So to suggest that Sam should get all the credit or whatever, yeah, you can learn facts from anywhere, right? If I read the encyclopedia, do I praise and then I'm able to use that and win an argument? Should we all praise the encyclopedia, or should we praise the person who is making the argument and winning the conversation? And more importantly, bringing people to Christ, right? Praise God for what is happening. Don't be like, my guy deserves all the credit. He's not getting enough credit. No one deserves credit. Sometimes people ask me, have you ever brought a Muslim to Christ? And I answer the question, no. And then I explain why. But the reason is because God is the one doing the work. And if your attitude is, well, this guy deserves more fame, he's not getting enough fame, then you're completely and totally lost. And I'm not surprised that you would think that way, since you listen to Sam constantly, because Sam doesn't represent Christianity. He is a Bible butcher who takes scriptures and impresses people with memorizing them, and then abuses them for his own purposes, for his self-serving purposes. He constantly takes scriptures and uses it for his self-serving purposes. You know who else does that? Zuckernick. You know why he's famous? Because he has so much knowledge of the Bible, because he has memorized, in his own words, a couple hundred verses and can spout them off the top of his head. Sam and Zuckernick are the same. Both of them have memorized a good number of Bible verses. Neither of them understand the Bible, let alone the gospel.
Yeah, there's the devil himself knows scripture. He doesn't come with understanding of it. He doesn't come with that sort of relationship with God that's required. But he knows scripture. And guess what? As far as learning goes, sometimes the best people to learn from are the people on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
How do we understand Dawa tactics? We learn from the Dawa guys what they are doing. We sit there and examine what they are doing. We realize that's crappy. That's really bad to do, but we understand where they're coming from. And we understand their sort of plays. Now, I think this is supposed to be some sort of judgment on us tearing up the Quran.
I don't
Judges 11:24, but it has nothing to do with respecting false gods. It's talking to them about their God, but it literally does not respect their God at all. So maybe try a bit better. Maybe, I mean, if you take scissors to the Bible enough, like Sam does, maybe you can get something to say what you wanted to say.
Yeah, I have no idea why he went to this verse.
It literally has nothing to do with context at all. Maybe he's learning from Sam and just throwing random verses out. See the proof. Question here, is Sam even Christian?
He doesn't embody what Christ calls him to, is what I would answer to that. Is he capable of being saved by Christ if he confesses with his mouth that Jesus is Lord and believes in his heart that God raised him from the dead? Yes, he's capable of that. Whether or not he chooses to put his faith and trust in the Lord or just say, Lord, Lord, didn't we do all these great things in your name, is a different question. I don't like saying somebody will for sure be saved or somebody will for sure not be saved. That God wants all to be saved, but he does give them the choice whether they're going to trust in themselves or trust in him. Based on fruits, it does not seem like Sam is embodying the fruits of the Holy Spirit. It does seem like, based on appearances, he may even embody a different spirit altogether, which would not be true of a Christian. Ultimately, though, he's a false teacher. Either way, he's a false teacher. And he's a very, very bad role model. He should not be anybody's role model. And he's damaging to the church. Should the church choose to look at him as an example instead of Christ, which would be a problem in and of itself. However, yeah, he's not somebody who would be allowed to remain within fellowship based on what I see Paul say, to my knowledge. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts would be very similar to Al's. Now, I mean, on a personal level, I think that I cannot see any possible way that Sam could actually have a repentant heart, that he could actually be in submission, to use an Islamic word, but to have humbled himself before the Lord and accepted the free gift of grace, because that requires acknowledging that you have done wrong, and Sam doesn't seem to ever think that he's done anything wrong. However, you know, I don't know that for a fact, right? I'm not capable of perceiving his heart, and I certainly don't know the future. I don't know what will happen, but I would 100% say there are clear-cut criteria for who is qualified to be a representative of the church or a Bible teacher or however you want to put that exactly. And Sam does not meet any of those qualifications. He is completely and utterly disqualified from representing the church, teaching anything along those lines. And the only way, if you truly care about Sam, he needs to be brought into humbled and brought into repentance, and that is not going to happen as long as people are like, well, he makes good arguments against Islam, so we should just pray for him and ignore all the bad behavior. No, that is not true, right? What is more important than destroying Islam is to bring people to Christ, to stand on truth, and to follow the biblical standards. The Bible puts standards in place for people who profess to be teachers for a reason. It says most of you should not be teachers. You should not desire this position. You'll be judged by a much higher standard if you put yourself in this place. And what Sam's bots tell us is, well, we're all bad people. Yeah, Sam's worse than most of us, but we're all bad people. So who am I to judge him? Well, the Bible tells you to judge a teacher, right? It doesn't tell you to, make fun of people for their sins or to go about making people feel bad or whatever, but it tells you to remove people from authority if they are inhibiting the mission of the church. The number one reason, in reality, regardless of whatever reason people give, the number one reason people leave the church is hypocrisy. People like Sam who are put in a leadership position and do not preach one thing and do something completely and totally different. You may not like it. The Bible says teachers have standards that are much above the standards of being a Christian, of being saved. And if you don't want to follow those standards, don't put yourself in a teaching position. Tam put himself in a teaching position. The Bible commands us to judge teachers. He will be judged as his qualifications of being a teacher and will be found lacking. And I will not back down. I will say that over and over again, and I will explain to anyone who asks. Sam should not be followed by anyone. The only way he's coming to repentance is if people stop giving him the financial ability to do what he does.
I would say in my regard now, I put in, this is a new thing that I just realized is an option. There is a chat option. There's a new widget here for people on StreamYard that's a poll. So you guys can give me your opinion by typing 1, 2, or 3 in the chat there. Just 1, 2, or 3 by themselves to give your input into this. And I tested it and it actually works. But as far as my views go, so you've got 2 options, two levels. So either he could be a Christian, but just a bad teacher. He could be a Christian and a good teacher. At least meet the qualifications. So he could meet the qualifications for being a Christian and then meet the qualifications for being a teacher. As far as for being a teacher, he definitely does not meet those qualifications and requirements according to Scripture. On top of that, he doesn't even meet the qualifications, in my opinion, of a Christian, because we are to know Christians by their fruits. And I look at the fruits of Sam and I see nothing but spite. I do not see any of the love of Christ in him. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine not too long ago that has seen some of Sam's stuff, and independent of what I just said, he said the same thing. He does not see the love of Christ in what Sam does. And there's not that at all. Even when we sit here and rip up the Quran, it's all done to a purpose that will hopefully lead Muslims out of Islam into Christ. But I can't see that in Sam's live streams. I don't see that because even with the most basic question, just asking for clarification on what does this word mean, or what does this verse mean, or coming to him with the basic, like, hey, I want to have understanding. What does this mean? He'll chew them out. He'll block them for even posting the verse and posting the question of the verse. And it's like, dude, no. If you are a Bible teacher, you should be able to answer questions about the Bible itself and not block people because they have the audacity to question. So we do have a caller in here, which is Aga. I don't know how to say that. It's A-G. What?
Goa, G-O-A. I
Yeah,
could be wrong in
G-O-A.
pronunciation.
So I'm going to go ahead and let you on up. Welcome.
Hi. Hi. Hi, guys.
Hello.
I have no idea. I will appear, no problem. I thought you were doing a poll using StreamYard.
Well, yes, the poll on the side here, you can easily enter in by just pressing the numbers. That's fine. If you have a question, we can go ahead and take your question. Just as a perspective, are you Christian, Muslim, atheist, whatever?
I am I am from Chile. English not my native tongue. Apologies. I am Jewish, but not practicing Jewish years, decades. I'm feeling really near to be a Christian, but not totally. I am learning, studying, watching your streams, David Wood, and all the guys, Tadeus, etc. So, well, thank you to all of you. Maybe I have a question, not related to your visit to Dearborn. May I?
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. I welcome all questions. Go ahead.
I have been, I will not say a materialist, but every time I try to, I have, two sides. Kind of a religious side, spiritual, trying to believe. But I have another voice telling me, but this could all be a legend, beautiful stories, nice people, that voice telling me maybe it's just beautiful, beautiful stories, good people, but nothing else. And a kind of, at this moment in my life, a kind of automatic voice. My more active voice, my will is to be a believer, but I have that fight inside me. Maybe some advice, some I don't know, maybe something to read, something to do.
Absolutely. I appreciate your question, asking those questions. I appreciate you looking at it. And yes, I agree with I agree with you 100%. If it is true, we need to understand the truth. And if I'm understanding correctly, because some people are saying that very hard to understand, I'll just restate it again. From what I understand, what you're saying is you're very close to Christianity, you're looking into it, you have some questions, there's still the voice in the back of your head saying, well, what if it's all false and it's just all fairy tales, nice stories, but that's all it is. It's just nice stories. And if that is true, I would agree with you, because we need to be certain. We don't want to stake our eternity, and that's what we're doing. We're staking everything we have on, was this actually, is Jesus actually God? Did he come into earth? Did he come here? Did he die on the cross? Did he raise in 3 days? Did all of that happen? Because if it did, and in fact, the Bible even addressed this, if it happened, we're good. If it did not, and it's all false, we are to be the most pitied people in history because we follow this. So either it's true or false. That was Paul's writing that. So it's he really had a good reason to be like, no, this is actually true. So you're asking for any sort of suggestions as far as reading materials. I would bat back only one question just to ask you your perspective, and I hope you can understand me correctly. Is what would you be looking for, so I know where to point you?
Um, it could be some both. If you could suggest me some uh, chapters or books in the Bible itself, Old Testament, New Testament, obviously, but could be, and also maybe also some books I heard. I think David Wood mentioned some the case for Christ,
Yeah.
or more than a carpenter. I don't know. He mentioned some books that he started to read when he was in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know that
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
the case the case for Christ is a classic work. It is available in Spanish. So
I can read
if you know
English, no problem.
Oh,
No
okay.
problem.
Well, it's
I read
available in
I read
English as
English.
Case for Christ. It's also available in Spanish as El Caso de Cristo, if you prefer
Mhm.
that. And that's a good place to start for sure.
Those are good options. Biblically, I'd recommend, of course, the Gospels are the story of Jesus. If you're interested, because you said you have a Jewish background.
Yes.
Okay. For that, something that might be interesting to you is going through the prophets that are in the Bible and seeing their prophecies about Jesus coming and then lining that up. So that would be, at least if I was in your position, I would find
I
that
read
very interesting.
I read someone mentioned, I don't remember in what stream, but one of the many, but read Isaiah 53. I remember. If it was in a channel of Messianic Jews, and mentioned Isaiah 53, and that was very meaningful to this man. And I read it, and it was Jesus. I don't know. Uh, it was obvious when I read it after watching the video. Incredible.
If memory, yeah. So that is really cool. I find that interesting. I find looking back and seeing the writings of people who were, 1,000 years before Jesus's birth, writing about this guy in descriptions, and definitely when it comes to his death on the cross, describing how he's going to die on the cross before crucifixion was even a thing.
Mhm.
That just blows my mind there. So those would be good. I know we had a suggestion here, Mere Christianity. As much as I love C.S. Lewis, I
Yes,
don't know if you're at that point
yeah,
yet, but
yeah.
basically,
I love Tolkien. It's so
yes.
they are friends. They were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, I love that with C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. That was just when I learned that, I was like, "What? Really? That is just so awesome to see that." And that their walk with God, how one led the other to Christ, was just, again, I find history like that very interesting, very engaging. So yeah, anything from C.S. Lewis is always a good
Mhm.
option. He does a lot of like Mere Christianity. If you're wondering about the problem of pain, his book on the problem of pain is fantastic. So I'd recommend anything from C.S. Lewis. I'd say solid.
Definitely.
So those would be my suggestion. Granted, I've got like the C.S. Lewis collection, like right up there, which is like everything C.S. Lewis wrote up there.
Oh,
So I mean, I'm a big C.S. Lewis fan, as well as like
I'm a
as well as
I'm a big
Jared Tolkien
Tolkien
too.
fan. I have not a lot, but all the Middle Earth and some other the complete
Well,
history of the Middle Earth, the three big volumes of the
yeah. Did
Middle Earth
you
that
read
was
the Silmarillion?
by his son. Yes, in Marillion, Christopher Tolkien, his son, compiled the Silmarillion, and then the three stories, main stories, the children of Húrin, apologies for my pronunciation. Beren and Luthien, and the fall of Gondolin. That it was not
Nice.
mentioned. The battle in the fall of Gondolin is the best battle ever in all Tolkien. It's spectacular. That's a movie. The battle when Morgoth, the dragon, iron dragon, I don't know, metal dragon, still attack Gondolin. It's spectacular. That's a movie in itself. And I am reading near to read all the 3 big volumes of this complete the story of the Middle Earth. I am the book 10. It's wonderful. But C.S. Lewis, I understand. I have read of Narnia, watched the films, obviously, but I know también David Wood had mentioned Mere Christianity and the Screw Tape.
Screw tape letters. Those are really good too.
That. Okay.
They're
Yes,
fantastic. Again, like I said, anything from C.S. Lewis is like a solid option. So I guess those would be my recommendation. Of course, you're more than welcome to come on here and ask questions in the future as well. Definitely, if you pull up one of those and be like, "Oh, I'm really struggling with this. This really doesn't make any sense." In Christianity, that questions like that are welcome. So they are always welcome here. Again, with all the reading you've done with Tolkien, it's always interesting to rewatch, like go back through the movies afterwards, after reading all the books, and be like, oh, that fight between Gandalf and the Balrog just means so much more. It's like, oh man, that's another level there.
I have in my reading list. I have in the book, but a brief book about how the relation of in the middle Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and Christianity. I have it. I don't remember the author. It's a brief book explicitly about the relation between Christianity and Lord of the Rings. I hope to read it soon.
I have oh, sorry. You said you hope to read it soon, and then you said something else. There was a bit of a lag, so I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
No.
I was gonna say that some other recommendations I'd make are to read Daniel 7. So Daniel in the Old Testament, chapter 7. I think that is good to have in mind, and then also to read in the New Testament, John, if you haven't yet read John, and Revelation. I think that those are a very helpful for understanding who Jesus claimed to be. Of course, that doesn't necessarily resolve the concerns of, are these just stories? But I think when you compare Daniel 7, Isaiah 53, John 1, Genesis 1, Revelation 1, with each other, that they show the bigger picture that Jesus does, in fact, fulfill prophecy. And so he could not have just been fictional. He could not have just been stories based on history, based on fulfilled prophecy, based on his claims that he then fulfilled, and not only others' claims about him, but his own claims while he was here on earth. I think that those are very helpful if you haven't read through them yet, especially to be able to kind of go back to back from, like, for example, Genesis 1, John 1, Revelation 1. But I know that's a little bit potentially scatterbrained, so I apologize. But
No problem.
So there's that. I would point out, as far as just getting back to, I guess, your main concern. I mean, this is a good one. It's a good concern. Is it just all fairy tales? I would point to one, it's all historically based, so you can check the history on it. Two, we can examine how Christianity spread and the reactions of the disciples, the ones who are supposed to be following Jesus. So if we look at scripture, if we're just saying that just hypothetically looking at it as if it was a fairy tale, the first thing you would not do by any means is have your main characters huddled in a basement hiding because they're scared of being executed because they didn't listen and pay attention to the words of Jesus. And definitely to say that these were the guys who is going to now build this ministry itself all up. That just makes no sense why you would have them scared in a basement. Now, what we do see is we do see that Christianity spread very quickly, that the followers of Jesus went throughout the land. If we look at other historical books and even look at the apocryphal accounts, we see that all the disciples of Jesus died in horrendous ways, with not a single one of them ever saying that it was all a lie or that it was all a fairy tale. So if this was all made up by the followers of Jesus and they're being horribly tortured, I mean, options are being pierced by multiple spears, being sawed in half, having your skin flayed off. All of these options, plus quite a few more, not 1,000, but quite a few more options. At any point, they could have said that this is all a lie. I don't want to die for this. I have a hard enough time imagining three people keeping a story straight and being willing to die for a lie, let alone all the disciples of Jesus, apart from Judas, being willing to go to their deaths for what they, if it was all made up, what would have been essentially a lie. So I believe that they saw what they saw there. And I mean, it's backed up by history. So I'd recommend looking into that a bit more. And again, having the disciples react the way they did makes sense. It makes sense within a human nature because they just saw their main leader executed, died, buried, and they're possibly next. So of course they're going to go into hiding. They're going to try to preserve their life. They don't understand what happened. They thought he was going to, rule and conquer, not paying attention to the fact that Jesus said multiple times, "Hey, I'm going to Jerusalem to die." And they're hiding there. And when he appears and gives them their message, then you see these people who would have lived their entire lives within the same sort of geographic area. We see all of them go to the ends of the earth as far as they could until they died, preaching this message of Jesus's death and resurrection. And you see Christianity, even if we, again, take another step back and put that, say, okay, maybe those stories were all made up, hypothetically. You still see Christianity expand in a way that is unusual. Because we see, like in Islam, we see Islam spread by the sword. We see convert or die en masse. And it makes sense. I mean, if you want to preserve your life and all you got to say is, I'll follow Muhammad and Allah is like, okay, Allah is now my God and I get to keep my life. Even if you don't believe it, okay, it's a tempting offer. You just say the words and you're good. But we don't see that with Christianity. We see the opposite. According to secular writing, according to even the people who are trying to kill the Christians, such as Pliny the Younger, we find that he was trying to get them actually killed, and he's filing for this, and he's saying, hey, these guys are singing praises to Jesus as if he is a god. Can I have permission to kill him? And yet Christianity spread to a point where even the superpower at the time, eventually, who was persecuting and killing Christians en masse, converted to Christianity and became Christian. That doesn't happen in history. It's weird. I'd also point to to other references that we know historically happened, such as the Israelites coming in and taking over the promised land, which, of course, with the Jewish background, you would agree on that. But even that itself, I look at saying that is unusual within history. You don't have this sort of events happening through a secular lens. It just makes no logical sense. But we know by all historical records, these things happened. So there's got to be something behind it. And I'd say the same God that is behind Israel coming in and taking over and Christianity spreading the way it did in a perfect time. Mind you, this was the perfect time for Christianity to spread. I mean, you had Rome, which took over a large swath of the known world, allowed for relatively peaceful, in comparison to beforehand, travel throughout its realm, and on universal language that everyone was talking about, this trade language that was spread by Alexander the Great beforehand. It just all combines into this perfect time that you could take a book and spread it to as many people as possible. Now, you could argue that, well, it'd be easier to do it today because we've got like YouTube and we've got all these videos. Yeah, but it's 1,000 times easier to fake something now. I mean, how many times you got AI video? And even if it's a real video, you're like, people will still argue that now it's AI. Oh, that's just AI generated. It's not real. It's like, no, that actually did happen. No, that's AI. But at this time, there was no way of actually faking this. And even if we look at like the people who are trying to stop Christianity at the time, their argument wasn't that Jesus was fake, as far as like he didn't actually exist or he wasn't real. It was commonly believed that Jesus lived, and it was accepted even by the critics that Jesus was alive. They tried to discount his miracles that he did under a different guise, like, oh, he was a sorcerer, or oh, he used demons to do it, or oh, it's witchcraft. I think it's True Doctrine, which was the first hit piece written against Christianity, in that it argues that yes, Jesus did live, he was doing all these miracles, but it was just all witchcraft. It was just witchcraft. That's all it was. And it's like, okay, well, that's again evidence that's not fake, because you have people writing against it. You have people going against it. You have the spread that's unusual within history, which only outliers would be events that I would say would be divine intervention happening. So I guess that would be my 2 cents. I know I went on a bit of a ramble with it, but it's something that tell you truthfully, that question is something that has hit me hard in the past, and something I've had to struggle with myself and look at the history of it. So I'm a bit passionate about it. Yeah, I love the history and looking at it, and it's a good question.
Much appreciated. And to close, I have to say another people of near your group is Chris of Defending a Lion. He's working on the Talmudic dilemma. And so it makes a lot with a Jewish background. He's doing a really great job exposing how the Quran Muhammad took a lot of Talmudic and inserted in the Quran as well, other kind of stories of obviously the New Testament, but some kind of heresy or heretic, not proper or Christian or myth, Christian stories adjacent. So he's doing a great job, and I thank Eric, El, and Tadeusz for your work, and all the other members of your team. And thanks for your advice. I will check after the video to review the suggestions you have given. Thanks.
Before you go, I'd recommend one YouTube channel that I think would be extremely valuable for you. It's Radar Apologetics. He is Messianic, so he's got a Jewish background. He is a Christian, but he's a Messianic rabbi. So I think he would be probably the best person to take some of your questions to be able to answer you on your level in sort of the context that you'd understand the best. So I would highly recommend him.
Appreciate it. Good night. Thanks.
May God bless you and guide you. I'll be praying for you.
God bless.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
And to anybody else who is in that position as well, I would say, remember the encouragements in Jeremiah. We see in Jeremiah that God says, "Seek me and you'll find me when you seek me with all of your heart." We see that he says, "Call upon the Lord your God and I will show you great and wonderful things you have not yet known." These are good and true encouragements from the Lord that were, yes, revealed in specific contexts that you can go read about in Jeremiah, but the beauty of our Lord and the love for the lost that he's exhibited from beginning of Revelation to the end of Revelation in the Bible has continued to show that he does desire that we know him, that he does desire that we draw close to him. He also said, "Come, let us reason together." He desires to provide salvation for all who will accept. He wishes that none will perish, and he does allow people to reject him if that is the choice that they make. Of course, it's not something that is good to reject who is good, but he also doesn't want robots who are forced into a relationship with him. He wants genuine love, and because he is genuine love, the genuine love. And I think it's really beautiful to recognize that God does know our hearts and call us to him, and that he does want to be found. He's not the best of the deceivers, like the Allah of Islam. He's not a God who is far off. So I think these things are important to consider, and that it is very, very important. This is our eternities at stake, that we should earnestly pursue him and know who it is that created us and who it is that calls us to himself and to be saved by him.
Amen. So, guys, in the live chat, I put up another poll just because I was curious why we were talking about it and forgot to activate it until now. So, I mean, it's a little outdated. But who loves C.S. Lewis? His writings, what he did, his work. Please put, if you do, let me know by putting a 1 down there. You can vote that way, or put a 2 if you don't like it and you're lame. Take a pick. Either I think you're lame because you put a 2 down there. So, absolutely, that was a wonderful conversation. I'm glad he came up. It was a good time. And I hope for the best. I hope he honestly it looks like he's honestly searching, and I mean, the Bible's pretty clear. Knock and the door will be answered. So you got to knock and it will be answered. So that it's encouraged to ask those questions, encouraged to engage. So we left off, we went ahead and we were outside. We were talking about our Dearborn trip. We were outside the town hall. We did our activities there. After town hall, we went, had some food. And I think that was it for that day, right? We were just there chilling the entire day.
So we had a very nice meal. A large group, a bunch of people joined. I met up with them at that time, so I can start talking again. But I met up with the group at that time. A bunch of people they met that day, local Christians and whatnot, joined for dinner at a Middle Eastern restaurant that was co-owned by a Christian and a Muslim. It was very much not like a Islamic restaurant, right? They had like classic Persian decorations, things that Muslims would consider to be idols on the walls and so forth. So it was pretty cool experience there, hanging out with a large group. And then the three of us, as well as David and IP, rushed back to the hotel to stream on Malik after that.
Yeah, so we got a live stream after that, which was very enjoyable. You can check that out. That was on, which one was that one? That was, because we did multiple streams while we were up there. Was that on IP's channel?
Yeah, it's on David's channel. I think it was when he went. Yeah, definitely. That was when he decided to go after you two and try to dox you. So that was the stream there. So we jumped on that quickly. Like
we did a stream.
Yeah, he started to talk about you guys like before we went up there, but the focus of that stream was on you guys and IP.
And that worked out so good for Malik. I mean, he stopped us from desecrating the Quran at all, right?
Yeah, it's so funny, right? Like I knew what he was going to say, but no one else knew what he was going to say, right? So we get out the Qurans, and I'm thinking of him playing it back because that's the next one we watched it. But we get out the Qurans, and he's watching it. Because he's watching it live. He's literally watching it live. And he's like, oh, why are they handing out Qurans? Are they doing Dawah now? I see they're not ripping. I can't believe they're not ripping. They're afraid of the hotel. And then we instantly start ripping, not knowing that he's saying that in real time. And then he gets super upset and tries to call the hotel. It's calling the wrong one. But even if he was calling the right one, it wouldn't have mattered because the hotel said, sir, that's none of our concern. He's like, well, there's people in your hotel. They're ripping up Qurans. And they're like, sir, that's none of our concern, and hung up on him. But he didn't even have the right one. Did not even have the right one.
Yeah. So, Malik made a great commercial, in my opinion, for that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, it's like, no, not a concern. No, he's not staying here, which was the honest answer, because Malik thinks he knows more than he actually does. And I'd say probably now more than half the time, he is wrong about the information that he thinks is true and he shares.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually very indicative because he was 100% convinced that it was the hotel, a particular hotel in Dearborn, based on the wall decorations, I guess, because that's literally all I could see. And he was 100% convinced. But this is how he always operates, right? He sees a piece of information, may or may not be true, and he's instantly 100% convinced that's the absolute truth, whether it's a David Segara or a real estate mogul IP or people's addresses or phone numbers. I mean, occasionally he does get something right, but most of the things that he's putting up aren't even the correct information for people. And yes, my fairy tale, very helpful. It is the one that says baby doxer, even though that's what David titled it, because he thought that would be like the most interesting part of it. That's my kid, but I'm only a very small part of the focus. It starts with Elle and Eric, and then he spends most of his time on IP, and then I have a little cameo at the end.
Yeah, so again, it was very interesting watching the live stream on him reacting to the live stream while we're live. And I mean, I know the hotel's probably not going to do it, but they would actually have grounds to sue Malik because he held up their phone lines. He told his audience to call them and harass the attendants there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they would have grounds to sue him over that, because it was an illegal action. But that's how Malik rolls. He seems to like doing illegal things and claiming, see, the police didn't show up at my door this exact second, so it must not have been illegal. It's like, dude, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah, it must be advice he got from the world's worst lawyer, Ramzi Abushi. speaking Muslim, because he's quite convinced that he's not going to be in legal trouble. And his argument is always the stupidest possible thing. Oh, it's not doxing because I had to search through 200 pages of Google, and then I found this obscure Facebook post from your account that the person didn't even remember existed, but it's public information. They put it out there. And yeah, that's not a defense, Malik. The law literally says nothing about whether it's public information or not. It's 100% about your intent with the information you're providing.
And how that makes the individuals feel, because there is that aspect. If I am feeling that you're doing this to intimidate me, and that seems to be the point that you're doing it, there you go. It doesn't matter if it's clips from this live stream and you start sharing it saying, you know, you're going to find me in XYZ and you have my address and all this stuff. That's still doxing. Even though the live stream is live, that's still doxing. Now, alternatively, if I were to, let's say, read an article with your name attached on it as a suggestion by the live chat saying, hey, this guy's mentioned in this article, why don't you look it up? And I start reading the live article with no intent to intimidate, harass, or harm you, that's not doxing. That's actually something just called reading.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put up another, as we continue with this Dearborn chat, I'm going to put on another poll here. I don't know. Okay, I can't do two at a time. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, how would people vote? I mean,
don't know.
You don't know what the one's for.
Hey, I didn't even know it did a one thing. I didn't even know it reacted to the people in the chat. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've never seen this before. This is the first time I've ever seen it. It is pretty cool.
So I'm going to hide that one. I'm going to start this one next. So should we go to Dearborn again? Should we plan on doing another trip? Yes, no, I do not care. So those are your votes. Let me know. Again, one in the chat, 2 or 3, depending on which one you want to go with. And I'll leave that chat up. I'll leave that poll up for a while so people can continue voting on it as we continue with the final day of us being there. But I think Thaddeus has made his opinion quite clear immediately, considering I didn't even finish explaining it before he voted.
Well, I have an advantage because there's a... I was putting up people in the chat.
In my defense, I was starting to do this before I found out Thaddeus had already voted as well, but I kind of wanted to see what would happen to the poll if I did it a bunch of times. And
we'll put you in timeout.
It probably only counts at once. It's hard to say since we're at 100%. We have no idea, but
yeah, well, so far spamming is allowed. When you're my wife, yes.
I have a badge. And if you take it away from me, I'll go public.
Go public. Hey, my husband take things away from me. He took the mod away from me.
She's gonna dox you. She's gonna dox you, Eric.
It's like, I know where you sleep. Yeah, next to you.
No, on a real note, like, as much as we make jokes about how stupid it is to think that you're actually doing anything positive for Islam by promoting evils, yeah, doxing is so evil. To try to get people to go after people, to try to get people murdered for speaking truth, for trying to intimidate people, for trying to get people to lose their homes, lose their families, lose their jobs, when it is for pursuing righteousness, that they are hated. Obviously, we know that God did warn us about this, that we will be hated. He was hated first. We know that God did say that we would have to carry our crosses, but even with all the stupidity of it, like, I still don't want people to become so numb to it because it's become such commonplace. But yeah, it's no good. But it does reflect upon the desires of the enemy for
exactly.
seeking to. steal and destroy.
I'm pretty sure this
Just to be, even though we don't take Malik seriously as an individual who has the courage, which I think is technically the correct word, even though courage is usually a positive thing, the courage to physically attack us. But it only takes one crazy person, right? It only takes one crazy person who's tuning in, and they're like, "Oh, Malik told me to do it. I should do it. I should do it." Right? So, and that's exactly Malik's intent. You know that if there was a physical attack, Malik would absolutely be like, "Yeah, I did this. I'm the kingpin of Dawa, and they should have known better." And in the case of L, he not only, put some information out there, or at least attempted to put some information out there, he said that he wanted to make her his concubine, which we all interpreted as a rape threat. But then it was pointed out to me after the show that it is also a murder threat.
Yes,
because he can't take Elle as a concubine unless he first murders Eric. So it is both a murder and a rape threat, and it's not some joke, right? Malik, when he played us back, us saying that, he just laughed his little head off until he played a little bit further and kind of realized what he had said, and then he tried to say, "I just meant that I would make her clean for me." Yeah, sure, buddy. Whatever you say. Court's not going to interpret it that way, and it is a very serious matter, right? People can't be behaving this way in civilized society. You don't go around threatening other people and then laughing it off when people take it seriously. It's a serious matter, and as much as it is fun to make fun of Malik, it is also something that we need to take seriously.
So yes,
And
go ahead.
just add on the concubinage thing. No matter what he claims that it's for, legally that's threats of human trafficking for myself, for David's wife, for God Logic's wife, for Inspiring Philosophy's wife. Whether it's him forcing David's wife to scrub the floors and then making them dirty again so she has to scrub them more, and physically abusing her in the ways that he described, that's still human trafficking. Whether it's doing other things that he said that he would do sexually, that's still human trafficking. These are horribly illegal threats, and yeah, these should not be said or done.
Yeah, and just for people's reference, additionally, because it's actually a three-prong. You have the, of course, rape threat itself. You have the aspect of course, murdering me, which that is on the table. But there's also another aspect, which is, like she was saying, human trafficking, which is slavery, that he is threatening to turn her into his slave. Now, that only happens, one of the ways that happens in Islam, and this comes right from Reliance of the Traveler, which is the Sharia handbook. So we're looking at the Islamic sources saying he's threatening to make her his concubine. He's threatening to take her captive and all this stuff. How does that happen? According to Sharia, that happens by him taking her captive. So kidnapping is on the table as well. So, I mean, this is, and he what's so bad about it is he goes on, and I know you said, yeah, we had a comment. Wow, really? Yeah. I mean, this guy goes on there. He describes it. It's not just that he makes the comment, "Oh, I'd make her a concubine," or, "Oh, I'd marry her." No, he describes the act on top of that. So, and I know for a fact, knowing my wife, it would have to be by force. And he describes it saying that he would make her this. He would make her do it. So, yeah, it's by force. It's very clear what it is for and what his intent was, even though he tried backpedaling for a little bit. But then it sounds like he tripled down on it, and also said the same things about David's wife and about, well, I think it was also Avery's wife as well, if I remember correctly. So now he's got 3 accounts of him threatening rape, 3 accounts of him threatening murder, 3 accounts of him threatening human trafficking and kidnapping. So that's not good.
Yeah, and I think that Malik is getting a little desperate because he first tried to say, I'm going to ignore David. He's irrelevant. I'm not going to, L's 5 minutes of fame is over. Thaddeus's 5 minutes of fame is over. And then shows up at David's live and is begging to be brought up and talk to us. The same day he said that he's never going to mention us again because we're irrelevant. I think he's in panic mode. I think he's starting to realize that consequences are coming. He heard us say that we're preparing police reports, so he knows they haven't been filed yet. So he's like, maybe I can convince them not to. Yeah, it's not going to work. Not going to work, Malik. Unfortunately for you, well, actually, maybe fortunately for you, you're about to face the consequences of your action. The reason I said maybe fortunately for you is because I genuinely hopeful that when you hit rock bottom, you will realize you need a savior and reject your false idol Allah and come to know the truth of Christianity. I don't see any other way that's happening. And you're going to have to, whether it happens or not, you need to bear the consequences of what you've done. Because if we ignore it, then it just encourages the next Dawa guy to do it. And encourages the next guy and the next guy. And pretty soon we have a culture like the UK where there's one set of rules for Muslims and there's a different set of rules for everyone else.
Yeah, so like David said earlier on, when he was, I think it was at the debate down in Houston, when before Malik got on there and threatened again his wife. Yeah, they were asking, what would it take to, make peace happen? And he's like, no, this guy needs to be made an example of. And we are going to do that so that every person in the future, every Muslim who decides, oh, I'm just going to dox this Christian because I don't like what they're saying, I don't like what they're doing, I'm just going to dox them. The rest of the Muslims should stop him immediately because they know what's going to happen. So now that we've got that little bit of issue out of the way, let's go ahead and wrap up the last day of us being there. We went to a couple places, went outside. I got a interesting video from a person who, I'm sorry, I don't normally like bringing race into this, but I think it needs to be said because the sign said all are welcome. And then the sign right next to that she drew as quick as possible with a Sharpie marker and put up on random piece of paper was it's something like the dude with the sign sucks or something like that. Yeah. And she kicked him out of her store. Right? She kicked God Logic out. She kicked a bunch of our people out that just went in there to talk. So she kicked them all out and said, nope, you're not welcome here. And it's like, but the sign says all are welcome. And of course, right next to that is all Black Lives Matter. And I'm sitting like, Black Lives Matter. All are welcome here. The guy with the sign sucks, which I'm assuming is Avery because
no, it was actually Drake who was holding it.
It was Drake. Okay, so it's Drake, but you kicked the black guy out of your store and you're a white woman. Mm-hmm. I don't normally like bringing race into this, but there's a bit of
I don't think it had I got to be fair. I don't think it had anything to do with race.
It just looked really bad.
Yeah, so I want to be fair here. I mean, the woman is obviously a massive hypocrite. She obviously doesn't practice what she preaches. That said, they were having a class inside the building. A bunch of people coming in with cameras is intimidating to the people there. And she didn't want anything to do with us and the reason she put up the sign was because she's anti-Christian, right? It's not a race thing. She's anti-Christian. So all are welcome except Christians, obviously, right?
Yeah.
it's this kind of extremely toxic idea of acceptance, right? I'll call it toxic acceptance, where we accept everything except people who don't accept everything as valid, right? so they end up being extremely hateful in reality, right? Extremely not open to other ideas, but in their mind, they're extremely open to everything. So they tried to go. So actually, AP and I went over there first. We started to go in the store. We saw they're having a class, and we backed out. We didn't actually go in. And then Avery came in across the street, and he decided to go in with his cameras, and she immediately asked him to leave. I do think it is, slightly disrespectful to go into the store with cameras and try to confront someone. It was way more disrespectful for her to put up the sign, right? But two wrongs don't make a right. And she did, after Avery left and most everyone left, but I was still there, she actually came out and talked to me. And she said that, she admitted it was all her fault. She said that she had a impulsive reaction, that she lost her temper, and that she just didn't want her business to be affected. So I'm being Christian here. I'm being very generous with her. So despite her hating us, I'm showing love towards her, and understanding that she did acknowledge her error. And so I wanted to make that clear to people.
Now, I did not know that conversation until Thaddeus just told me here. On my short, though, I do want to point out that you can't tell where it is or whose business this is, or even the picture of the woman. The point was just the hypocrisy of the signs.
Yes.
That was it. I didn't do anything that would say, "Oh, go do this business, go harass this." No, that's not what we do. Hey, Malik, take notes. That's not what we do. We'll point out hypocrisy. We'll use it as an example, but and in fact, her coming out and saying, "Hey, it was an impulse," I have mercy for that. Sure, okay, it's an impulse. Okay, that's good. So there's that, but it's just I point out the hypocrisy of it without addressing the individual or pointing out the business itself.
You didn't show the name of the business, which you easily could have, right? And you'd be well within your legal rights to do so, because it's a public business and you're filming stuff that's available in public. And she did choose to put up the sign, but your video, no problem with your video whatsoever, right? Just shows the hypocrisy. There was also a sign, even before we got there, there was also a sign on the front door that said ICE is not welcome in this building. So there was already the contradiction there. Yes, I understand you think that ICE is bad and it's against Hispanic people or whatever, but you're still already saying all are welcome. You guys aren't welcome, right? So it was already there even before we got on the scene. I did talk to Avery after having a conversation with the woman, and he said he probably wouldn't publish the video because she came out and, repented, so to speak. And as far as I know, he hasn't published it, so you probably won't actually see his footage. So again, just demonstrating Christian love, that we have mercy on people even when they hate us.
Yeah. So I think that is a good example, saying, hey, you know what? She came out, she owned it. Okay. We can move on from that and give grace where it's due, because we're Christian. And I guess that, and going back to the whole thing with Malik, something that I've noticed watching some of the live streams and stuff that we've done is Malik has a real issue with us coming from some sort of background where we've made mistakes, where we've repented of sin that we've done, and moving forward. He seems to have a real issue with that, which again is interesting, because it's like, because the Bible does describe the word of our testimony as having some serious power. what we were saved from, where we came from. Those sort of things have power, and part of that's repentance. So, yep. So cool. Good on her for doing that. So after that, we went to I think a food restaurant place. Oh, I do want to mention at the first mosque that we went to, the Muslims did call the police, and they did show up, and they were cool. I mean,
They were there for hours, many
they just hung
hours,
out.
like almost the entire time we were there, across the street, in that parking lot, and elsewhere driving through.
So yeah, I cops showed up, checked out what we were doing. Everything was fine. We were there with a speaker even talking, which I was kind of expecting them to come up and say, you guys can't have that. You don't have a special permission to have that speaker here. So you're going to have to shut it down and not, which again, I would have been recording the mosque on their loudspeakers, blasting louder than ours. And then record the cops saying, you can't have a speaker here because we don't like it. No, they didn't do that. They were cordial. I have no problems with cops just hanging around. Yeah, they did exactly what they were supposed to do as far as police go. They made sure nothing bad happened. So cool.
Yeah, I mean,
good on them.
In a sense, they might have been there for our protection, right? Because either side, I'm trying to be neutral here. Either side, someone could get mad and physically attack someone. So yes, they were there to protect the mosque, but they're also there to protect us. And they just sat and made sure nothing went down. Nothing went down, and it was fine. Were they also called at the mosque that we were outside of, that the bookstore was across the street of, or?
No, I don't think we were called at that point.
Yeah, we didn't stay there too long because there wasn't a lot of action. Avery put out the address and stuff, and Christians kept showing up to say, I'm a big fan, but no Muslims were showing up. So we then moved. You called it a food area. It was a strip mall. There was a grocery store, a couple of restaurants. Eric Gal and I were outside of the restaurant, but Avery was over by the grocery store. And Avery had some very interesting interactions there for sure.
Oh, yeah, that got spicy.
Got the cops called again. The cops basically came and told the guy that had called them that he was full of crap and he was in the wrong and he needed to calm down and go
Good
away.
on the Dearborn police. That was actually pretty cool. Actually, I don't think we were in Dearborn. I think we were in another city at that time, but yet they were still just as cool.
Yep. But what did you guys think of our interactions with the people we talked to?
I think we had some good conversations. There is a question here. I'm assuming this was someone that was with us saying,
Yes.
do you all think them coming out to smoke was to annoy us? I don't think so, but maybe. I mean, that would be as petty as you can get. So I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, smokers usually come outside periodically, right? Because of the addiction. So I wouldn't read anything into that.
Yeah. So I think we did have some good conversations. I was off on the side at one point. I ended up going on the speaker we had set up there again. I ended up just on with another Christian talking about Muhammad and some of the issues we have and why Christians and Jews are paying for the sins of Muslims again. Just focusing on that, focusing on the fact that Allah will wipe out people who are perfect in order to replace them with people who will sin so that he can forgive them and fulfill his nature. So we went ahead and went through those. So we were downtown, very Muslim area, and we were saying that Muhammad's a false prophet on a loudspeaker. No issues. Well, for us, there was no issues. For GodLogic, the other hand, he had some.
There was a random woman who came out of the store while I was in front of the store passing out Gospel of John and Romans booklets in Arabic and English. And she was asking about what's going on there? What's the meaning of this? Why are they being so like awful over there on the speaker, saying various things? So some people had a problem with it, but
I had two mics that could come up and talk. That's why I was inviting him to come up and talk. Come prove me wrong. Show me that Muhammad's a true prophet. And no one. And it was a pretty popular place.
You did have that conversation with the one guy. I forget exactly the context. But after like 5 minutes, he literally rage quit the conversation. He's just like, nope, I'm done. Hands you the microphone and walks away.
Yeah, that was the one that came. I was actually not on the speaker beforehand. L was. I came up and I started confronting him about a bunch of stuff and just asking him about questions about it. And he kept contradicting himself and eventually just rage quit. So I'd have to review the video to remember exactly what the topics were. But I know we have the video somewhere. So we got more videos to come about Dearborn. So stay tuned for those. Most of them should be on L's channel, I think.
I did have some good conversations before that on the speaker, and then also after in front of the store. But yeah, you'd have some people that care and some people that don't, as was with the other interactions as well.
So I'm going to remind you guys the in the live chat itself. Now there is this poll here that you guys can vote on just by typing 1, 2, or 3 into the chat just by itself, and it'll add your vote to it, which is very interesting. But on YouTube, I have a poll going right now asking if God Logic should go on the PBD podcast. I guess PBD released a question for everyone saying, hey, who do you think should be on there on X? So if you guys think God Logic should be there, make sure to go on X and vote for him so we can get him on there. It would be a great time. It's a big platform. He could teach them about what Islam actually is and reach a lot of people that wouldn't normally get his content. So it could help him reach more people. That'd be cool. I'd love that. I gotta admit, that's something that's very awesome with the Apologetics group that we're with. I can't say it for everyone, but as far as everyone I've met, we just work together. We are all working for the same master. And we're like, oh, yeah, you want to jump on? I mean, Avery's like, oh, I'm just going to jump on, so-and-so stream that's got like 1,000 subscribers just to boost his numbers up and help him out and do apologetics with him. And he jumps on there and goes on to everyone else's channels. And David does the same thing. And I'm willing to help out anyone that wants it without any sort of kickback. It's cool because we're all working for the same Lord. We're all working for the same master. It's not Avery, by the way, just FYI, in case you're listening, Malik. It's not Avery. Okay? But it's cool to see that, and then to see the Dawa. On the other hand, we see the Dawa guys constantly infighting. It's like we don't have that here. We don't have that. Oh, I gotta get more views than Thaddeus because I want to be more popular. It's like no. It's and the Bible is clear about this. If the gospel is being preached, who cares who's preaching it? Because it's not about them. It's about the gospel. So
absolutely. The contrast, I mean, it's not really about what we were just talking about, but the contrast between the Dawa scene and the Christian apologetic scene is like night and day. Thanks to Malik, I mean, we always suspected that everyone was just out for themselves and they were stabbing each other behind the backs and closed doors. But thanks to Malik, we now know for a fact, right? We now know for a fact what's going on. And it seems every guy is only interested in themselves. And Malik just assumes that it's the same in the Christian scene. And since Avery is the most popular right now, and for good reason, he is the best, right? At least as far as like street evangelism goes or live debates, he is by far the best at doing these kind of interactions. Not that other people aren't excellent, but he's just better. And as a result, he's more popular. And we all say, praise the Lord. 500,000 people are hearing the gospel through Avery. I'm not like, oh, I feel so sad because I only have less than 1/10 as many viewers as Avery. It's terrible. I need to take him down. No. I say, great. If I have 0 and people are hearing the gospel, great, right? I've literally only done, I believe, 1 stream on my own channel in the past month. I've been on other channels, but because it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if I get views or someone else gets views, as long as the truth is being heard. That is what we care about on the Christian scene. And having met most of the major Christian apologists, I've never met anyone who is different in private than they are in real life. We didn't say it earlier, but the other thing that was super interesting with the very first place, the Columbus State, after like hours of posturing, literally hours of posturing about how he wasn't going to debate Avery, the Hadith expert is like, hey, can you turn off the camera so we can talk as real people? And Avery's like, no, I got to keep the camera on for my protection, but you can talk as a real person in front of the camera. And he's like, no, I can't. The camera has to be off. So basically he has to put on a show while the camera is on because it's expected of Dawa, right? Dawa is all about the show. It's not about truth or reality or being a person. It's about putting on the right show, and Christianity's not. Night and day difference between Christian apologists and Muslim apologists, because there's a night and day difference between the religion. One religion is about having a relationship with God, loving God and loving others, that the love that he first shows to us, that as a natural outflowing of the love we've received, we want to love others and share that love and live in eternal relationship with God and others. And in Islam, it's about performance. It's about what I get. It's about a disinterested creator that is not part of heaven in any real way. He's just a servant boy who gives you what you want. It's about you. And Dawa scene reflects it. It's about you. The Christian apologetic scene reflects it. It's about loving one another and bringing people to Christ.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I'm pretty sure I understand what the Muslim guy was going to say, I think. But he's basically a big fan of Avery. Because when we're walking up, they all got super excited as soon as they saw Avery and David. They got super excited. I'm going by their video that they released, that they are like super fans. And I think that's something that Avery's really good at, is he's got a strong appeal because he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. He's down to earth. And again, he's the same as when you're talking to him, you're talking to a friend. And that's the same. And it's, again, cool to work with a group and in an area, in a field that's like, we don't have to put on a show. We don't have to be inauthentic. We can be authentic and just talk the way we're going to talk, as if we're talking to our friend, because if we're in private or not, everything that we do, the Lord knows. So if I'm being inauthentic, the Lord knows I'm being inauthentic. If he knows I'm just doing this for a show, he knows I'm just doing it for a show. So it doesn't matter one way or the other. It's like I'm live all the time with God watching me, and his opinion matters an incredible amount more than any Muslim or any Christian or even any of my family members. His opinion matters more. So that fact alone is like, no, I'll just be authentic because the Lord already knows everything.
The other thing is human opinions are just that, opinions. And God's opinion is not even subjective as other opinions may be, but objective because he knows the truth, because he is the truth. And deceit does not hold against him. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it.
Absolutely. Amen. So, in conclusion to our Dearborn trip, it definitely seems that there is a desire for us to go back. We'll probably plan in the future sometime to do that with scheduling allowing. Elle and Thaddeus, are there any closing thoughts to our trip that you want to say or anything you'd want to do next time?
Did you mention Sunday?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
I thought
we
were
didn't
just talking
mention
about
church. We only mentioned the Dawa activity. So if you want to,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just going to say what a blessing it is to find people who have been led out of darkness and into the light that God has rescued, and hearing how he's rescued them and what he's rescued them from. It can be discouraging at times to look around and wonder what impacts have been made. And so getting to see the impacts of people leaving behind the lies of Islam and coming to the truth of Christ and confessing him and pursuing him with each other is amazing. And that was definitely part of what we got to see at church, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and also we got to hear Eric from Ohio sung by someone at the church.
Okay, that was weird. I'm not used to that yet. When I show up and they're like, "Oh, I know you. I know Thaddeus. I know Elle, and yeah, I know you, Eric. Yeah, Eric from Ohio." And I'm like, "There are Muslims here. May not be the best idea to finish that song, but yes." So that was cool. It was cool to run into people. It's good to do that sort. It was a very tight church. So it was a very good time being there. It was definitely a very different one because AP also joined us. So it was giving him a new perspective on a different type of church. It was more of the sort of church you see in Acts. So it is fun. But talking about AP, I just realized that I sent him a message a while back, but I don't think I ever actually told him about it. Oh, well. Okay. Okay, so you just asked when the live stream was because I invited him to this live stream and I was like, wait, I never sent him the link.
That's funny.
Good
job. You invited, but he did go live with David, so he probably would have joined anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it was after we were live for a while, but still, he probably wouldn't have joined knowing that he had to join our live stream later in the day.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's like I was just realizing, I was like, oh, I forgot to send him a link because I've done that to David before. I forgot to send him the studio link. I was like, oh, wait, I should probably check on that.
And then you turn on your phone and you have 50,000 Z's.
It's like, why didn't you send me the link? I was trying to join. It's like, oh, oops. I forgot. Okay. Yes, I can forget things. Yes, I make blunders. I am human. As such as many people. But not many people have forgotten to give people live stream links. So there's that too. So, yep, the church was fantastic. It was fun. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add to the entire trip?
I'll just say that we did come back from Dearborn on Sunday, but the adventures didn't really end there. Some of us, everyone on this panel and a couple others, then had some more activity. Avery went back home and destroyed Ijab's career while we were having fun with Quran. So stay tuned for a stream about those activities coming soon.
Absolutely. That was a great. That was so. I'm laughing about hijab. The whole thing with Avery and hijab because that was he got.
Yeah, I mean we're literally on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and start getting messages. Have you seen Avery's destroying hijab live right now?
It was almost better than the stuff we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Almost. It'd be a close second, in my opinion. So, but yep, that is the end of his career, definitely with the false copyright claim that he is trying to do after he realized he got completely owned and people are calling him out for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool. So keep tuned for that. I guess my conclusion is it was fun. It was engaging. It's a good outreach opportunity. I'd love to do it again. And I'd love to meet more of you guys out there in person as well, doing ministry with you. It's fantastic to work. I'd say, honestly, that's one of my high points is just getting to meet some of the people that I've talked to in the chat that I've seen forever on my screen right here, going up and up and up and just making mentions, actually seeing them in person and hanging out with them. That's cool. I like it. That's awesome. So thank you guys for tuning in. Elle and Thaddeus, what do you got coming up that you'd like people to know about?
Well, you heard about Quran Demolition Ranch. I'll be on David's stream in the coming days. He said AP is going to be out of town, so he needs stream ideas. So I'm going to propose a couple ideas. So I don't have the topic yet. Sounds like there might be a Malik update. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't seen anywhere that he actually showed up to confront God Logic in person. Shocking, I know. But I'm sure he'll probably jump on his live stream later tonight and be like, I can't believe that God Logic ran from me. I was in town and I told him that I was coming, but that he wasn't there anymore. And yeah, so I expect that there'll be a meltdown. I think there'll be a meltdown, right? Because he said, no one can come to California. I'm in complete control of this entire state. You can't even touch down in the state without us pulling up on you. And then he's literally in the same city. He told him weeks in advance he was going to be there, gives the exact location. And Malik is, it'll cost me gas to come see you. So I imagine Malik's going to have a meltdown tonight. So it could be about Malik, could be about another topic. Look for that. I'll have Mary on sometime this week to discuss polygamy from a Christian perspective. It won't be about Islam. I mean, Islam might be mentioned, but we did a stream last week on, 2 weeks ago, because last week we were very busy. But 2 weeks ago, we did a stream on Malik's pathetic attempt to pick up women by saying how great polygamy is. And we had a bunch of freaks come into the chat who were like, Christianity teaches polygamy. You're not a real Christian if you don't believe in polygamy, and all kinds of weird crap. So we're going to go through what the Bible teaches about polygamy. Not a subject that is like comes up all that often in the modern world, but it's a very important subject historically, because the church obviously put an end to polygamy in many places. So get some good apologetics from Mary later this week.
Cool. That should be awesome. Elle, is there anything you want to share real quick?
Check out seekandsharetruth.org and input your email. If you go to the website, scroll down, it should say a place where you could type your email in and hit update me. We look forward to sending out information about the conference soon, Lord willing. And be praying for us, please, for the conference, that more people will not only come to the conference, but that many more people will come to Christ through whatever means he so chooses. But may we do what he's called us to do and do the good works he set out before us. And ultimately, all glory to him, regardless. But everybody needs Jesus. So hopefully more people will accept him.
Absolutely.
And hopefully people will make disciples who make disciples, because there's far too many people who are content with going to church but not being the church. And let's change that.
Amen. So for me, tomorrow I have a small video that should go out after the Demolition Ranch video, which is sort of like a a little bit of a continuation, to say the least. Let's just say Eric from Ohio wasn't satisfied with some of the results, so he corrected the issue. So I do want to point out, though, Thaddeus, I think you might have called it earlier on, because Malik has now got a post saying you should have let me know sooner. Don't do PR at Inspiring Philosophy.
Sooner. You let him know like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks obviously is not enough for Malik to be able to plan to drive, a little distance in the same city, mind you. So an hour-long drive. He needs more than 2 weeks' notice. This is Club Pyru, guys. We need to have month notice at least to be able to pull up on someone. My gosh. Oh, well.
But Malik said that when the Muslims gave God Logic a hard time about Balboa Park, which was not announced in advance, it was because no one can appear anywhere in California, or Malik will instantly send someone there to harass him. Obviously, Malik probably didn't really have anything to do with the harassment, but he took credit for it. So why couldn't he meet them in LA when they had a 2-week notice that they're going to be there? Very strange.
Nope.
And he can't say I didn't know, because we know he watches every single one of these streams. He always knows everything that happens in them.
And I mean, even in this stream here, Malik, you could have called in at any given time. I literally have had the link out. At least you could have tried to call in. I don't guarantee anything. But you or your so-called little squeeze Cora, or maybe your other little squeeze Chicken Nuggy, could have called in at any given time, but I guess you forgot. It's very convenient. So for me, that would be my next video will be on that little clip. I'll also be back Wednesday for the 100th day of continuous content on this channel, because we have now made it to 96 days of continuous content. And so we'll be hitting 100 here pretty soon, which again, even that is because of Malik. It really is. The fact that I have released so much content is because the whole reason I even started was I was going to be going on a trip for this new Demolition Ranch thing. And I was like, while I'm busy with this Demolition Ranch thing, I might as well make sure that I have this post all ready to go and all these videos ready, so I don't have to worry about it when I'm doing this. So I decided to do videos every day while I'm gone. I got back. It's like, wow, this seems to be doing pretty well. I might as well continue. It might be fun to challenge myself in this way. And now we're almost at 100. So all of those videos would not have happened necessarily. I mean, clips would have still happened and stuff, but I would not have released all those videos without you, Malik. It is literally all on you.
So I think we should maybe end this by asking the question, who did this?
Malik did.